And New York Jets, yes, it was, and yes, we are. Double yes there. Sure, we will have Kurt Becker on this week. My wife already has her superfecta play.
Wow.
Well, there's a horse named Commandment.
Oh, yeah.
There's a horse named So Happy. I forgot the other two names. She's got 4 names. We're going to put them in the $24 trifecta box. Well, just for a couple of days, Ryan, but thank you. It was a very New Orleans weekend, Javier. Etouffee on Saturday and New Orleans barbecue shrimp and grits on Sunday. Why does this computer keep shutting off?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this final Monday of April. What a nice little sports weekend it was. Hope you had a chance to enjoy it. Thanks for being with us. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. If you are joining us on Twitch or YouTube, you see one Mark Miller in the cozy confines of the Miller household. So this is what it looks like, huh?
Yeah. I think they want me out quickly. I was barking orders this morning just to see if I could get a rise on anybody as everybody's up getting ready to do their day.
Right.
And I proclaimed, I am in charge. I went Al Haig this morning. There's your 1980 reference, everybody. But I got looked at by both people, my daughter and my wife, like, get out of here. Go upstairs. Leave us alone.
Yeah, we've got a routine. We've already established life without you. You're invading our home.
Exactly.
Okay. Right.
Exactly. But no, I'm here for a couple of days. I'll go back tomorrow. I didn't have a doctor's appointment until tomorrow afternoon, and I had a weekend pass. So my weekend got extended because there's no real need to go back for nothing.
Agreed.
Yeah. So another night in my own bed tonight. I'll do the show here tomorrow, break down a couple of things I got to take back with me, but worked on it over the weekend, got everything set up here, made sure the background looked acceptable, and we're ready to go.
Right. Well, your background looks so good. Now I'm going to have to do something with mine.
Well, that was in my head when I was doing that. I have to be honest. I'm like, when I finish this, Moulton's going to have to step his game up.
And I have a couple of things that are in the background. You just can't see them.
Right. But what we get mostly is a closet door.
Right.
Now, I mean,
right. I know. Well, I may have to reposition some things here.
Well, I would think it would start with the desk, but that's the
Right.
problem. I mean,
Right.
move the desk, that beautiful Emmy and the other plaque for the Emmy could be right there, and then I lose. It's over.
I know. Somebody said you need something in the background, and I said to myself, I have an Emmy in the background. Okay, but nobody can see it. The other problem is it's a big melon. I mean, let's be honest. You've got a camera and you've got an angle and you've got a melon. Okay, but it's strategically set up where we can see much of the background and you and your melon fit in perfectly.
Right.
My melon takes up too much of the screen.
It does. You're right. I will say it. I mean, we could, there are things that could be done to. I can help. I can help. I can throw you an assist. I can give you a good cross ice pass. I've got ideas.
You're going to Kucherov? You're going to Kucherov? You want me to be Hagel? Okay, you're going to Kucherov me?
Keep your stick down, David. Just keep your stick down. That's all you got to do.
No kidding. No kidding. And Jake Getzel. Okay, come on. That was a perfect slap shot pass. You got a wide open net, dude. Come on. You got to start finding them.
Well, he found one. I thought that was key that Getzel got a goal last night. He's not had a lot of luck scoring in this series. Hagel's been unbelievable. And to be brutally honest, Kucherov, when he starts shooting more, wait for it, David, good things happen. He is so fixated on making the pass. And last night it was a shot. It was a slap shot that hit Hagel and, where? The chest, the I don't know. It hit him.
Yeah.
But he shot the puck.
Right. But Montreal got a goal like that. They had a puck luck goal to go up 1-0, and the Lightning finally got some puck luck in this series when it was 2-2 late in the third. Thank you very much. We will take it. We will get out of here with the series tied.
And thank goodness, because if not, we'd be talking about that 1-for-7 night on the power play, and in which the game was that game officiated like a game in January.
Sure was.
And I'm not, because Tampa ended up with 2 more power plays. I think they had the benefit of the calls all in all, although the irony is they call that horse blank slash on Getzel that they never call in the postseason.
No.
And then the cross check that made it a 5-on-3. If we're going to call the game like January, in January, that's a 5. I get that it's not a 5 in the postseason, but that game was officiated very much like a regular season game. And Tampa ended up with a couple more power plays. Each team had one on the man advantage, and the Lightning get a split. And that's all they could ask for. Now we've got a best of 3, 2 games at home. And I don't think at this point, David, I don't know what you think. We've not talked about it. But thus far, I don't think the Lightning have been the better team in this series.
I think they've been the grittier one. I mean, along the wall. Okay, I think the Lightning have been the better team along the wall, but I agree with you. It just seems as if Montreal is able to get better scoring chances, or maybe Mark, it just feels that way because the Lightning, it's amazing to me they can't get their shots through in this series. Like shot attempts at the end of the night, both teams have 50. And yet Montreal has had one game in which they had 12 more shots on goal. It's like, why can't Tampa get their shots through? I thought last night that simple strategy of I'm just shooting the damn puck. And you know what? I like that strategy. Phil Esposito loves that strategy. He spent 30 years doing Lightning games yelling, shoot the puck.
Well, David, the game's not played along the wall anymore, though. I mean, I understand that possession is along the wall, but the game is played between the dots. And that's where, to me, Montreal's been a better team. To your point, their shots are getting through. Tampa's throwing blind passes. I mean, the turnovers they've made in their own zone trying to get the puck out. That's where you want to use the wall. There's nothing wrong with a little chip and chase. These cross ice backhand saucer passes from one end to the other in their own zone are going to come back and bite them. I mean, Montreal missed the net on a slap shot by inches in the third period that would have given them the lead, and it all started because of a turnover in Tampa's own end.
I agree.
So I understand your point, and yeah, I believe I'm with you. I think Tampa's the tougher team, but I think Montreal's playing better hockey in the series.
I wish Tampa would just bank the sucker off the boards a few more times, get it to the central ice and just chase a little more. And I get it. They want to possess the puck. I get it. I do. All right. I know hockey. I've watched hockey. I get it. But man, sometimes, boys, just bang the puck out of the damn zone.
Particularly when you're shorthanded. It would help.
Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness.
So
it was.
That's what we predicted when Friday came, that we would have an even series here, and 3 overtime games in a 1-goal game.
Right.
It has been a terrific series. It really has. This last night was up and down, physical, great chances, great goaltending, a little bit of everything. Whatever you wanted, with the exception to me of a game that was refereed like it was in January. And I'm not saying anybody got an advantage. If anybody did, it was Tampa because of the power plays. But it almost cost them because the one cheapie they called on Getzel ended up in the back of the net. And for a while, that looked like that might have been the difference.
Because that made it 2-0. And quite frankly, it looked like that might be too big of a hill to climb. But the Lightning with only this, well, I guess it's now the third. There were 2 2-goal comebacks for wins last night in the NHL playoffs. Anaheim was down 2 spit, and the Lightning were down 2 spit, and they came back and won. The Lightning also did what the Sabres did. Not only were they down 2 spit, they were down 2 spit in the third in game 1 of their series with Boston and come back and won. So I thought you saw, when they talk about character, when they talk about the room, and when they talk about culture, I just thought you saw it all on display from the Lightning last night. The Canadians are playing well. They're getting the bounces. All right. They got 21,000 people dressed in red, chanting their names and what have you. And that team just put its head down and went to work. And then it was 2-1, and then it was 2-2, and then it was 3-2, and they held them off. I thought when they called that penalty, which I will say, I thought it's the first time I've questioned St. Louis all series. I thought he should have put the 6th attacker on the ice sooner than he did and had a 6-on-4 for most of that power play. He wasted at least half that power play with his goalie still on the ice. I would have made it 6-on-4, but, good for the Lightning. And this series is spectacular. Dallas, Minnesota, Tampa Bay, Montreal have both lived up to, Mark, what we thought and hoped.
Yeah, absolutely. And boy, are you required to wear a jersey? I mean, is it like the nice restaurant that requires a sport jacket and they've got some in the back in case you walk in without them? Now, if that were the case, I'd make them all, if you didn't have your own, wear that awful powder blue thing. But my goodness, they made the Steelers look like they don't wear enough jerseys to the game.
Right.
There's crowd shots where it was 95% Canadian sweaters in there. I've never seen, and it doesn't matter what section they showed, David. Holy Toledo. That's a lot of jerseys.
When Mrs. John Beliveau, okay, and her husband's been dead 12 years, when she is in a red Canadians jersey, all right, sitting in the crowd, and she is considered Canadians royalty. Okay, she could be in one of those blazers in the back that you spoke of, Mark. No, she's in a jersey, enjoying the game. All right, I'll be damned. What they announced, like, I guess they did something about the attendance because it's the biggest arena in the NHL, and I guess it holds a little over 21,000. It's like 21,135, something like that. Mark, I think they only allow 135 people to not wear a jersey. I thought it was 21,000 jerseys.
That was a scene, to say the very least, but it's Tampa that sends home the Montreal crowd upset. They come back to Tampa for Game 5. This series has lived up to every bit of the hype. Did the draft lived up to the hype for you? We've got rounds 2 and 3, and then all of Saturday to talk about. Some quarterbacks taken a little earlier than we thought, one taken a little later than everyone expected. But all in all, how did your team do? Miller and Moulton on a Monday. Thanks for listening.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Empire, I thought it was a big hit. I don't think it changed the game, though. I disagree with you. I mean, it was a huge hit. I'm not denying that. It was a great hit. But he came back in the game. I don't see it the way you did, but that's okay.
No, that hit did not turn that game. What turned that game, okay, was Getzel's 4-on-4 goal at the end of the second period. That's what turned that game.
I agree with David. I thought the Jets had a great draft. I thought the Browns may have had a better draft. The fact that they got that, look, I don't understand. I thought they should go all offense, but the fact that that safety from Toledo is still hanging around the end of the second round, I mean, For now, for a couple of days, I go back Tuesday. By the way, I know a couple of you had asked. I don't know if you're in there. This is what's left of the Robert Plant, Stevie Ray Vaughan ticket stub. I found my box with my stubs. This is a Pistons Mavericks 1983 ticket at the Silver Dome. So in 83, I was in 8th grade. I went with my neighbors, not my parents. Midweek game. School night. Tuesday. We might have been on Christmas break looking at the date, but a Tuesday, I got to go to a Piston game that was 90 minutes from my house minimum on a Tuesday with my neighbors. No parents. My neighbor's older brother drove.
Isaiah Thomas and Mark Aguirre on different teams.
Yes. Should, Javier. Legend, period. Blew Robert Plant off the stage. He was the opening act. We didn't scold you. We just looked for an apology. We did not. No. We did not scold you.
We just pointed out you had been lambasting us for a long time.
And we just reported, and you get angry. Wait till they take the tush push away this summer. That was maybe poking the bear. That really was. But
that was fun, though. I was just having a little fun. Yeah, no, it looks like it's here to stay for a little bit. A little bit.
Lou Holtz's first game at Notre Dame would lose to Michigan. Yeah, and one went back to his wife, and one went to get a hooker.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. I feel this is one area where we've evolved a little bit as a show. That a few years ago, this Monday after the draft, we would have been all about, how did everybody do? And, talking about 20 different teams and their drafts and what have you. And I'd like to think that over the last few years, we've realized that, these draft grades mean nothing. We need at least 3 years' time, if not more. Okay. That it's nice to have a gut feeling the Monday after the draft and go, I think so-and-so did well. I think so-and-so did poorly, but you and I are done handing out draft grades, aren't we?
Well, I can honestly say I've never handed out draft grades.
Right.
I've never been that into the draft, but I would read them and look at them, and I still did. But I saw a clip from the Barstool guys in which one of the sidekicks brought up, I believe it's the 2012 draft, in which Seattle took Wagner, Russell Wilson, and I forgot who their first round pick was.
I think Cliff Averill or something like that.
Irving? Anyhow.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's true. The pass rusher, West Virginia. There you go.
Okay. So anyhow, that was their first 3 picks. It was a waste of all 3 picks. It was a horrible draft.
Right.
It was the only grade that whatever this service gave an F to.
Right.
So I think it's pretty easy to just take that snapshot and explain that we don't know. Now, there was something like, Jets fans very happy with it, and they should be based on what was out there, what they picked. I hope the best for the players that they had. I liked Cleveland's draft even more than the Jets draft because they had a couple of second-round picks, and they got that safety from Toledo that you and I thought might be a first-round pick at pick 58.
Mhm.
Okay, that seems like great value, but we don't know. When the Lions took Gibbs and Campbell and one other guy, everybody said that was a terrible draft.
Right.
All those players turned out to be really good.
Studs. Yep.
So we don't know. We don't know what will happen with injuries. We don't always know how much guys love football, how hard they want to work, how they're going to transition to the pro game. You just hope for the best. We ripped the Proctor pick by the Dolphins. There were two guys that we thought were surefire hits in the NFL. The lineman from Penn State and Downs. Okay, let's hope that they are, but let's hope that Proctor far exceeds what we had heard about him.
Well, and I don't know about you, Mark, but I thought all day Friday, all I did was see people raving about the Proctor pick and how he's going to be a star, going to be the best lineman in the draft. And I'm like, well, boy, I hope so for the Dolphins' sake. I hope we're wrong. I absolutely hope we're wrong. The one thing I will say, and once again, we just made the point, it all means nothing. But Mark, there are not a lot of people that like what the Jacksonville Jaguars did.
That was the universal panning that I saw, that people thought most every pick was a reach.
Yep.
I will say they all thought the same thing about that Detroit draft that I mentioned.
Yep.
That every player was taken far too high, to which I would say to Jacksonville fan, trust your GM. That's their ratings. And you have to hope he was right about his ratings. But, David, you're correct. People did not like the Jags draft.
And it's still very early, obviously. But at second glance, the Jags draft day trade in 2025, he's not really going to be a two-way player anymore. He's just going to be a corner. And you gave up 2 first-round picks and other items to get him? Well, Travis Hunter better turn into Dion, baby. Okay, if you're giving up that much and he's, for the most part, just going to be a corner, he better be Rod Woodson. Okay, seriously. So it's early, and in Jacksonville, they love their coach and they love their GM. But he has done things differently than the rest of the league, a year plus into his tenure.
I will say the one pick I don't want to say most intrigued by, but it's like the big slip, the big slide of the draft was the Tennessee corner. I mean, this is a guy that was ranked as high as like 13 on draft boards. He went pick 101. I hope for the Raiders' sake that this guy can play injury-free and prove a bunch of teams wrong.
Yeah, he was going in the first round.
Right.
And then he was, maybe the injury concerns, he might go early in the second round. You know what surprised me? And I don't think it was an area of need. I'm trying to look back as to what I had. No, actually, it was their 4th highest area of need. There were 4 third-round compensatory picks, and I think the Vikings had 2 of them back-to-back, 98 and 99. And I thought to myself, Well, they're going to take him with one of these compensatory picks, aren't they? I mean, this is set up. I mean, even if you're unsure about the knee, okay, isn't this an area where you could take a flyer? First off, these are extra picks given to you. And secondly, what the heck? So that surprised me. When he made it to Saturday, I was like, damn.
Well, and the other team is Jacksonville, David. You talked about the Jags needing a corner. They pick the kid from Maryland with pick 100. The Raiders pick McCoy there with 101. Next day, but one pick different between those two. And it's the same position. Yep. So I do think those that cover the Jags, David, will definitely be paying attention to picks 100 and 101.
But for what it's worth, the two New York teams, Dallas, Cleveland, the Raiders, I saw Carolina, with top 10 grades. Okay. To me, Mark, the two teams that were getting panned the most were the Jags and the Niners.
Yep. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
So
I don't know. The Bucks and Dolphins were both middle. They don't give grades below C anymore. So you either have an A grade in some way, shape, or form, a B grade in some way, shape, or form, or a C grade. Okay, so these guys don't want to take grief. They don't want to give a D or an F grade because they've got to deal with these teams. So, I have Kuipers in front of me. He had the Vikings with the C grade as well. But yes, the Niners and the Jags were picked on by just about everybody that does this.
I saw a lot of people thought the Dolphins were in the middle, or they graded them based on quantity. And I saw a couple of people have them in their top 10 because of it, because they said, I don't know how many stars we got here, but they picked up some nice pieces in certain areas. Okay.
I thought the one point that was made when I read a lot about the Dolphins draft is whether they're good or not, a lot of these guys are going to play next year because, well, they have to.
Right. Okay, we can't judge the Dolphins draft just about how many guys make the roster.
Exactly. And let's be honest. If Bain works, it damn near doesn't matter what happened to the rest of the Bucs draft. The starting five, it's next.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I like the Dolphins getting that Bell kid late in the third round too. Jay Gunn. I mean, that was a guy that people thought it's a first round grade without the injury.
Didn't they get the Texas Tech linebacker in the
They
second
did.
round?
That everybody seemed to love. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody thinks he's a tackling machine, David. Like, that's your type of player. Like, I thought the Giants may get him in the second round because they needed a linebacker. I thought that was a great pick for the Dolphins. I don't know anything about Caleb Douglas. I won't even try to say that I do. But a tight end from Ohio State, like, I mean, I think so, Jay Gunn. I do. But
Empire, I thought the Eagles had a terrific draft, from stealing the wide receiver, taking the flyer on the African kid. I don't understand the quarterback pick, but
don't know. I mean, people liked the tight end. I will say that, Empire. I don't know. Not a judge of tight ends and didn't watch a ton of Vandy football, but I know Pat liked the Vandy tight end at the Senior Bowl. If memory serves me right, he thought, I mean, they thought there were a lot of good second and third round tight ends. They're a little more one dimensional than Sadiq there, that he was one of one. But Adam, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I don't think it's the social media stuff. I don't think it's that he acted like an ass. I think it's that he's short.
also he doesn't have a super strong arm. He's not 5'3". He's like 5'8" and change. Also, I think it hurt him. He didn't have any representation. We all know the world is based on relationships. And now, I mean, he got an undrafted free agent invite by the Ravens, but if he wanted to be drafted, he probably needed an agent.
He'll be great in the UFL or whatever that league is now.
Yeah.
And I thought before the draft, that's where he'd have to go to prove that he can play with men. So you'd want him on your team, Sonny. That's what you're saying.
No, Paula, the Steelers didn't break any rules. Unless you're the Steelers.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
At 22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Terrific little sports weekend. There are some things you may have missed, whether you were out and about or you were all wrapped up in the NFL and didn't realize there was other stuff going on. It's what we're here for. It's time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
I'll start with the NFL, but I'm not going to go down the list of draft choices. Thank you very much. We start with Mike Tomlin. Gave his first interview since leaving the Steelers. Of course, he gave it to his new employer, NBC, so they paid for it. But he said that lack of recent playoff success was part of the reason why he left. That he began to think it was just time that this organization and some of these veteran players needed a different voice. He was also asked about Aaron Rodgers, had nothing but good things to say, and said, gut feeling, I think he's going to be the Steelers quarterback this coming season. Sad news out of the NFL yesterday. He was an 11th round pick back in 1979. Monty Coleman. He was a standout linebacker on all 3 then Redskins Super Bowl winning teams. He also won a championship as a college coach at his alma mater. He died yesterday at the age of 68. 16 years, 215 games, all of them with Washington. Second on the all-time list behind Darryl Green. Couple of pretty good draft picks, right?
What you said, 11th round?
11th round.
Yeah, they used to have 12. Was that like that second to last round, right?
I believe so at the time, yes. To the NHL, the Lightning with a great win, a great gritty win. They're down 2-0 late second. Montreal's gotten the breaks. They've gotten a couple calls. 4-on-4. Jake Getzel scored. And he hadn't done much this whole series.
Hadn't had a goal in the series, David.
It's 2-1 going to the third. And Kucherov and Hagel connected a couple times. Hagel had his stick on the ice the one time on a power play, and then had the puck just bounce off him another time with about 6 minutes to go. And the Lightning come back from a multiple goal deficit, one of only 3 teams to do so in the playoffs thus far. Lightning even the series at 2 with a gritty, gutsy, great 3-2 win. Series comes back to Tampa for Game 5. What in the happened in Beantown yesterday? Bruins down 2-1 in the series. Game 4 is important. Buffalo scored 4 in the first. What?
And not one Boston fan was more upset than Swayman, the goaltender, who screamed at his bench after the end of the period. I mean, just let him have it when he was taken out. Just had it with that team.
6-1 Buffalo. They're up 3-1 in the series. We made a big deal about Buffalo hadn't been to the playoffs in 15 years. You know, when was the last time they won a playoff series? 2007. During the George W. Bush administration. Hello. Colorado swept the Kings, I should say, 5-1. The end of Anze Kopitar's 20-year Hall of Fame career. Avs just a better team, period, end of sentence. And they didn't take them lightly. You know, Edmonton had been living dangerously these last couple years in the playoffs. They had fallen behind 2-1 6 different times in the playoffs, and they won Game 4 all 6 times. Yeah, their luck ran out last night in Anaheim. down 2-1 in the series, but up 2-0 after the first period. Anaheim comes back, ties it. They go to overtime, and early in the OT, Ryan Poling wins it. Ducks 4-3. Ducks lead Oilers 3-1. The biggest reason the NHL is against Anaheim advancing in this series is not because Connor McDavid won't advance. It's because the Ducks have the ugliest regular uniforms in major sports.
They're terrible.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, they make the Carolina Hurricane road unis look good. Anaheim looks so bad.
I'm not talking about the specialty uniforms. We're not talking about the, Steelers Bumblebee here or crazy ones like that. I'm talking
or the Boston
regular
City Connect jersey in baseball, which is gross. I'm sorry, Red Sox fan. That thing's horrific.
You mean the blue and yellow from the Boston Red Sox? Right. Okay, I'm talking about their regular jersey out of the 120-plus major league teams, if you will. To me, it's the ugliest. You may want to watch Game 5 just to decide for yourself. Tonight, ESPN's got Game 5, Flyers-Penguins, and Game 4, Vegas and Utah. Utah up 2-1. NBA, Cavs went to Toronto and did not take care of business. Lost games 3 and 4, including the Raptors, pulling away in the final minute to win 93-89. Series tied at 2.
David, I think I have this right. The score at the end of the first quarter was 17-15. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That sounds about right. Mm-hmm. And both teams, to get to 93-89, both teams scored in the 30s in the fourth quarter. I mean, if you go back and do the math, I think the score was 62-56 or something like that after 3. San Antonio got Wemby back, and they were up 2-1 and won Game 3 without him. He scored 27 points, 11 rebounds. Spurs beat Portland in Portland by 21. They're up 3-1. Embiid returned for the Sixers. And the Celtics said, that's cute. And they hit 24 threes and won by 32. 128-96. Boston up 3-1 in that series. So the Rockets finally showed up. I don't know what's going on with the Rockets, but the Lakers are up 3-1 in the series. Rockets had a big third quarter. They outscored the Lakers by 16 on their way to a 19-point win. But Lakers up 3-1 in that series. Big Game 4 tonight in Orlando. Magic up 2-1 on the Pistons. What the wide world of sports is going on here? OKC trying to sweep Phoenix, and Minnesota trying to eliminate Denver. They're up 3-1 in that series, but Anthony Edwards is out for 2 weeks with an injury. He's out. He'll miss the rest of the series and the start of the next round if they get there. Baseball. Rays swept the Twins. 4-1 third yesterday on their way to a 4-2 win. Yanks had won 8 in a row. Houston beat them yesterday 7-4. Boston, if you guys missed it, fired Alex Cora and his damn near his whole staff. They got rid of Jason Varitek. This Craig Breslow guy is living dangerously as GM of the Red Sox. You got rid of Varitek? That's who everybody wanted to replace Cora when the time came. You know, Jason Varitek.
When did they fire him?
On a Saturday.
What happened after they fired him?
Well, they won 17-1 before they fired everybody.
And then they won again on Sunday. They're on a roll.
Oh, that's true. But then again, the Mets had won 2 in a row as well, and we know what's happened to them. Anyway, Boston, Contreras homered for the second straight game. They beat Baltimore 5-3. Toronto took 2 or 3 from the Guardians. They won 4-2. Jesus Sanchez with a 2-run homer in the 6th. Go-ahead runs in that one. Marlins lost 2 of 3 to the Giants. San Fran beat them 6-3. Phillies did snap their losing skid Saturday, but the Braves behind Chris Sale won yesterday 6-2. For Sale, it was career win number 150. He threw 6 shutout innings. And the streak continues. The Braves have yet to lose a series this year.
First to 20 wins are the Braves this year.
What is going on with Spencer Torkelson? Midweek last week, he hadn't homered all year. He's now homered in 5 straight games. Tigers avoid the sweep, beat Cleveland 8-3. No, that wasn't Cleveland. They played somebody else.
Cincinnati.
I was going to say, I got Cleveland playing 2 games yesterday.
Well, that's tough to do. It would have been easier for Detroit to beat them that way, but they beat Cincinnati and avoided the sweep.
They avoid the sweep. Colorado swept the Mets 3-1 and 3-0 in a doubleheader. Mets have lost 15 of 17. And now, since the Red Sox have cleaned house, people are wondering, are the Mets next? Ain't the manager's fault, I'll tell you that.
I'm one that's wondering.
It better not be. To me, that would be the sign that this is a really bad organization. You're going to blame the manager? Seriously, you're the GM. You blew up.
You can't fire the team, David.
Dodgers 6-0 over the Cubs. They took 2 of 3 in that series. Ohtani homered. There was a 2-game series in Mexico City between San Diego and Arizona. They split it. Arizona winning yesterday 12-7. They were down 7-1 in the 6th in that game. Milwaukee avoids the sweep at the hands of Pittsburgh 5-0. Seattle swept the Cardinals 3-2. A's took 2 of 3. They're in first in the West, 2-1 over Texas. KC in 10 over the Angels, 11-9. Washington in 10 over the White Sox, 2-1. Golf PGA Tour, the team competition, the Zurich in New Orleans, the Fitzpatricks, brothers Matt and Alex, they won by birdieing the 18th by 1. They split $1.4 million. By the way, they did the Stableford thing on the Champions Tour in Georgia. Retief Goose in the winner, but our buddy George McNeil, another top 10, 7th place all by himself. Another $72,000 for the bank account. He's going to earn full-time status at this rate. Keep it going there.
Absolutely. He's top 10 on the tour right now.
Right. Keep it going. LPGA Tour, it was a major. It was the Chevron, what used to be the Dinah Shore back in the day. Nelly Korda dominated, led wire to wire, cruised to a 5-shot win, her 3rd major, and she's back as the number 1 player in the world. Here you go, Mark. Talladega. Couple of big wrecks. There was a wreck.
Talladega,
There was a wreck on the final lap, but Carson Hocevar won. Chris Boucher 2nd. Ross Chastain led a bunch of laps. He finished 7th. And finally, Miami Hurricanes are going to have a new AD. Reports are that Dan Radakovich is going to retire. And the leader in the clubhouse to be the new AD, and it is not being received well by many in South Florida, Michael Yormark. He's president and CEO of Rock Nation Sports. If that doesn't show you all you need to know about where we are going forward in college athletics. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was the starting 5 big stories you need to know, and sometimes 1 or 2 more here on Miller and Moulton.
No, 5 big stories you need to know, a couple that you might not need to know, but we're going to give it to you anyhow. You're aware who won the NASCAR race? I've already forgot his name, and Nelly Korda won on the LPGA Tour.
Right.
And she jumped in the water there, right? Isn't that what they do with that one?
That's what they do with that one. They jump in the water. Yep.
Alligators walk across the T in New Orleans, and they jump in the water after the Chevron.
Right, in Houston.
Right.
Well, it'd be pretty stupid to jump in the water in New Orleans.
You know what? It's a dadgum good point. I think the Fitzpatrick brother didn't have full-time status. I think that gives him his card. I don't think it gives you a master's.
No, I don't think the team competition gives you the automatic into other things, but I thought the card really, so that win will give him an automatic?
Not into the signature events and not
Right.
into the masters, but I thought I read yesterday that he gets his 2 years on tour
Oh, that's awesome.
for winning that. So
Oh,
that, I mean, talk about owing your brother. I mean, all of you siblings out there, Miller and Moulton have no idea about this. We're only children, but all you siblings, whatever you owe your brother, your sister, you don't owe as much as Fitzpatrick owes his brother. That's all I'm telling you. Miller and Moulton, Pat Kerwin, an hour from now.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at
The
AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I am until tomorrow, Eddie. I'll go back after the show. I'm not home for good yet, but I got a weekend pass. For those wondering, let's see. Frank Zappa, front row at the Royal Oak Music Theater. What else did I grab here? Cowboy Junkies at the MSU Ballroom, REM at the MSU Auditorium, The Dead at Chrysler, first concert ever, Rush 1984, second concert ever, Triumph 1984, back-to-back three-man Canadian band shows at the Windler Arena in Saginaw. Maybe the best show I ever saw, Guns N' Roses' first tour, 88 in May. Sweet Child of Mine had not yet broke. No, Left Twix, they're fine with me seeing my family. If she were sick, then yes, they would have a problem with it. But she is not sick.
Yes, Sonny. It's about time. I mean, we wondered when was the pitching going to show up. By the way, the Twins have lost 5 in a row after they sent out the post making fun of the Mets.
I do anyhow, Left Twix. Buck, I'll actually take I would bet you $1,000 right now that your girlfriend couldn't make 3 of 30 3-pointers. 1,000 right now today. It's not that easy. That's deep. I've been on an NBA court. NBA 3-pointers are deep. I bet you she'd hit the side of the backboard from the corner more than she'd hit the rim.
Not yet, Left Twix, because that division right now, it's not looking great. And they're not healthy. I'd give them a chance to get healthy.
Here we go. 5 seconds, David.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this final Monday of April. Hope you had a good weekend. Thanks for starting your week off with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We don't really do poll questions anymore because, well, the place where we were doing them, now it seems as if it's impossible to get a vote registered. People who used to have hundreds of votes in their poll questions are getting like 7. So I don't know. Maybe we'll figure out a way to do poll questions down the road. But if we did one today, wouldn't we do something along the lines of, so how do you think your team did in the draft?
Well, I mean, if the answers were amazing, a draft full of Hall of Famers, we're winning the Super Bowl next year, were the choices, I might be in, because I believe most every fan base thinks their team did an amazing job in the draft.
But I think we usually had at most 4 choices in our poll questions. And I agree, Mark, those should be the first 3 because you're definitely onto something. But I do think you then have to throw the 4th choice in which you go, or a little disappointed, or actually, I don't think we did that well. You just need to have that fourth choice because there's that, 15, 20% out there that are like, I was kind of disappointed.
Because look at here's my reason. And by the way, text us what you think about your team's draft or post it on the YouTube or Twitch chat room. 21,000 is the number, Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. If you've never texted the show before, you need to text the keyword Miller to 21,000, then let it rip. But I would love to hear from you if you think your draft went poorly. Like, for instance, Paul is a daily listener. Paul is a Lions fan. Paula was ecstatic about the Lions draft on Friday morning, the first-round kid from Clemson.
Right.
We brought up a couple of negatives, and she's like, oh, no, I didn't think that at all. You guys are bringing me down. I mean, the Dolphin fan, some were upset about Proctor. And by the way, I think the Dolphins ended up with a pretty good draft. I don't like if the Proctor pick works, it could be a great draft.
I know.
I just didn't like that pick.
I know. I like Johnson, the cornerback from San Diego State.
Love Rodriguez, the linebacker from Texas Tech.
I even like the receiver they got, the first receiver they took. I like him a lot. Big
and
receiver
then a tight end from Ohio State. Those guys, I mean, Ohio State players seem to go to the next level and do okay. This just in. And they got Chris Bell. And when we had our Dolphins guy, I'm drawing a blank right now.
Chris Perkins.
I knew it was Chris. I couldn't come up with the last name for whatever reason. Chris Perkins loved Chris Bell when we had him on, a month and a half ago, was raving about him. So I look at this, and then if anything that hits from the fourth round and beyond, wow. We didn't like the first round pick. We thought that they reached on a player when there were two great players there to draft.
Right, but they went boom or bust, and there are a lot of people that think it could turn out to be the best pick of the first round. They are convinced that he's going to be a star. I will say a good question. I don't know how much press conferences that folks have watched, because 3 days of a draft and a whole lot of picks. But the new general manager of the Dolphins was asked, so you traded from 11 down to 12, but Downs was on the board at 11. Who were you taking at 11? And he said, Proctor. Okay. And he said, and Downs is going to be a terrific player. He said, but no, we were taking Proctor. We only moved down because we kind of knew they weren't going to go that way. So we picked up the 2/5 by moving down a spot.
The Bucks didn't do anything from a move standpoint in the draft. They just stuck with where they were and made their picks. We applaud them very simply because of who their first pick was. We thought that was exactly what they needed. They were able to stay right there and get Reuben Bain Jr.
I read a review yesterday in which somebody said, who had a really good draft? The Los Angeles Chargers. They went need, and they got solid player. They're like, remember, they played without most of their offensive line last year. Remember, their wide receivers got hurt. Remember, their pass rushers got hurt. And they still won how many games and made the playoffs? But at some point, Mark, doesn't that quarterback have to start winning games in January?
Absolutely. But the first, beyond the first two picks, Brennan Thompson from Mississippi State, I'll plead the fifth. I don't know if he's going to be a good receiver or not. But I will say everybody thought that Jake Slaughter, the Florida center, was the best center in the draft. He wasn't picked first. There was a center picked before him, but most every ranking that I looked at had Slaughter as the best center. So they get the best center when he's the second center picked. Well, that seems like a win to me.
Yep.
They get Messidor, a guy who can go rush the passer today. So just on those two picks, I think the Chargers did well.
Right. So, most grades are positive. There are very few mediocre to bad grades that are given out. The consensus bad grades seem to be Jacksonville and San Francisco. I saw a few people questioning what Denver was doing, a few people questioning what Minnesota was doing. Tough to conduct a draft when you don't have a general manager.
Well, then there's that.
Yeah. So we'll see.
But I was able to come home for the weekend. I'm still there. I watched zero Saturday. I didn't watch that much of the draft, period. I read about the draft. But when we start getting to rounds 4 through 7, I'm not going to try to be an expert. I thought the fact that the Raiders got the kid from Tennessee that was a projected first-round pick, but because of injury fell like a stone, and they got him at pick 101, I'm interested in that. The Raiders need to get a lot better. That's why they picked first. So we'll see if they got a steal in the 4th round. If he stays healthy, they got a steal.
Can I just talk about a couple of 3rd-round quarterbacks for a second?
Absolutely.
So Arizona goes first pick, 3rd round, Carson Beck. Interesting. What's also interesting is that Jacoby Brissett's the incumbent because Kyler Murray's no longer there. Yeah, Brissett's not happy, and he shouldn't be because he is playing on a backup quarterback contract. And he started most of the games last year, and he's scheduled to be the starter for all the games this year. And he's making like $5 million. So he's not participating in anything. So I'm just curious if Carson Beck's going to get a whole lot of snaps in camp. And I'm wondering if Carson Beck's going to get a whole lot of work in the preseason. Because I think Brissett's going to hold out a little bit here. I mean, come on now. He's $5 million he's making. He's the starting quarterback.
And by the way, does that mean that Carson Beck may be starting by, I don't know, weeks? I mean, if he shows anything, is he starting by week 6?
But first off, just everybody's thoughts. And boy, people seem to really dislike Carson Beck. And why? I mean, what? Because Kirby Smart in Georgia? I mean, were you there? Okay. Are you sure he was the bad guy? Okay, he was the bad guy. All right, fine. So you're taking it out on him because one of the twins broke up with him? Really? Now that's how we're judging people? By their dating? I mean,
we're not judging Vrabel by the same standards that we're judging Carson Beck.
I mean,
come on, that's the truth.
Right. I mean, and once again, how was he last year for the Canes? I thought he was pretty good. I mean, is he worthy of first pick of the 3rd round? Not sure about that. But I will say I'll defend the Carson Beck pick more than I'll defend the Steelers later in the round taking Drew Aller. What the hell are they doing? Nobody's taking him in the 3rd round. I don't know how many people are taking him in the 4th round. What are you doing?
Thought it was a little bit of panic because I thought the Steelers believed they could get Beck in the 3rd round and wanted to get their hands on one of the 2 quarterbacks. So they took him in the 3rd, David. I'm with you. By the way, I agree with you. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just trying to give you my rationale as to why.
But I mean, you think he's the quarterback of the future? Because if so, you should have drafted him earlier. I just didn't understand your draft. I mean, that would be my question to the Steelers. Do you think he's the answer? Or is he another prospect project? And if that's the case, I'm sorry, Mark. You can't justify spending the, 85th pick or whatever it is if he's a prospect project.
By the way, they had a bunch of later 3rd round picks too with compensatory picks if they really wanted to get him there. So I totally understand where you're coming from. By the way, Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, Cowboys finally seem to have a good offseason, building the defense. Getting our hands on Downs seems to be like the player that can reshape the defense for the next 10 years. Bucks fan, very happy with the Bucks draft. Reuben Baines, a nice surprise. I thought getting Keontae Smith from Miami in the 3rd round was great value. I'm a Steelers fan. I think the draft went as it has been the last 10 years, which is average. I thought when the Steelers in the 1st round, David, I thought it said everything about who they are. They brought out TJ Watt and Cam Haywood there. And I'm like, yep, 2 guys, one that's old, one that's getting old quickly, that you've spent so much money on that it's defined your franchise. But wave some towels and feel good about those guys if you want.
Yep. And talk about those 6 Super Bowl championships. Because it looks like it's going to be a long time before number 7.
Miller and Moulton. Pat Kerwin coming up, top of the 8 o'clock hour.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yes, Sonny, Pittsburgh looked great. It did. I mean, these industrial cities, although the draft looked great in Nashville, but, you know, Pittsburgh's closer to the Midwest than it is to the Northeast. And all these cities are producing great drafts. Green Bay, Chicago. It's so funny. The NFL lucked into this. They used to have the draft at Radio City Music Hall, and for whatever reason, the Knicks owner, Dolan, I don't know if they were refurbishing it but for 2 years, they said to the NFL, we can't have you here. And so the NFL was like, okay, where are we going to go? What are we going to do? And they said, all right, maybe we'll take it on the road. Maybe, can we take the draft on the road? And now the idea of going back to Radio City Music Hall would be the dumbest idea ever.
No doubt. By the way, I just realized I've seen Aerosmith a lot. There's a lot of Aerosmith stubs in there.
Interesting.
AC/DC a few times too. Some Silver Dome shows here. Pink Floyd,
Oh, nice.
David Bowie, and U2, all at the Silver Dome. White Snake, everybody.
Hello.
White Snake at the Castle in Charlevoix. If you know, you know. That was a great venue. The Cure, more REM, Billy Joel, Alice Cooper, Michael Hedges, great guitar player. REM at Cobo for you Detroit people. And Sting.
How much Police did he play?
Not much. Message in a Bottle and Roxanne, if memory serves me right. Before that, before the Wayne's World days, Deadstroke, it was the one Guns N' Roses opened. It was like 87, 88 when they started making videos again, and they kind of were good. Horrible, DC. Horrible. Silverdome sound was terrible.
If you ever get a chance, for whatever reason, the acoustics at Madison Square Garden are tremendous.
I'm really trying to think if there's a concert that I'd have to pay what I'd have to pay to see in the Garden. Because seeing all these bands at 100 years old doesn't interest me. And that's all that tours anymore. That's in, you know, I mean, they're just, the bands I like are actually in smaller venues. One, Canada Relief, one also at the Silverdome. Born in the USA tour. Fall of 87, I believe.
They'd have to be earlier than that. I think Born in the USA.
So
was
maybe fall of 86.
It might have been 84. Thought it was the summer of 84.
I was able to drive. In 84, I couldn't drive. That tour lasted forever.
Well, okay, there
he
is
did
that.
arenas, and then I think he did domes in football stadiums, if you know what I mean.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Pat Kerwin coming up at the top of the hour. We'll get knee deep in the draft with Pat here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Can I ask you? Yeah.
I just wanted to correct one, not correct, but we talked a while ago, and I should have done it earlier this hour. But the win on the PGA Tour for the Fitzpatrick brothers, Alex Fitzpatrick did not have tour status.
Right.
He gets 2 years.
Wow.
He gets his card. He gets into all of the signature events for this year.
Wow.
He gets in the PGA next month, and he gets in the Players in 27. No Masters, but 2 years exemption, signature events the rest of the year. Those are basically guaranteed paychecks, and the Players and the PGA. So just wanted to clear that up. We talked about it. I didn't give a complete answer. I gave it, I think. So I wanted to give the exact. So I apologize. Go on with whatever you were talking about.
No. I just want to finish it by saying I don't know what brother or sister has ever owed you, talking to our audience, but man, because Matt Fitzpatrick carried Alex around that course and hit the shot to a foot that all Alex had to do was tap it in, and he was a nervous wreck over that 1 footer too. But I just wanted to ask you and our listeners a question. Do you remember, and it wasn't to win a championship. It wasn't maybe even to win a game to get to a championship. But do you just remember a couple of wins that your favorite teams have had in which you're just like, this is why I'm a fan of this team. This is why I will go to the end of the earth for this team. Okay. I mean, I have a couple of giant wins when I was growing up in the 80s that I will take with me forever.
David. Sorry.
And I was just going to say, because Mark, to me, the Lightning had one of those wins last night where if you're a Lightning fan, you just wanted to walk out the front door and let the neighborhood know, go Bolts! Yeah!
Funny. I didn't think that. I mean, I thought it was a huge win for Tampa, but because they've hoisted the cup, I don't look at a first round game that way, but I understand how big it was this year.
But that's what I mean. You've got your championship wins that obviously they're in a totally different, but I mean, just those gritty wins, the Wings, the Pistons, the Tigers, in which, it's not an October win, a spring win. It's just those wins, though, when you go, that's why I root for this team.
I guess it's so funny because I had a different thought. When you were saying that, my thought process was completely different than yours.
Okay.
I was thinking of the games on the way up when you hadn't won yet. With the game, the game that you go, you know what? We're for real. And so I've been having a little fun because I'm back at home today. And I found my box with all my ticket stubs. And I've been pulling them out and kind of shared them during the break of concerts. But I found a Red Wing ticket here, David. And when you said that, I thought about this game. And it was a 5-5 tie. It was in 1988. They had not won anything yet, not in my lifetime. They were starting to get good. And they came back and tied Calgary. Calgary in 1988 was really among the class of the league.
Yeah, really good.
And it was a 5-5 afternoon game tie. And everybody applauded the Wings as they went off the ice, as if to say, see, you guys can play with the best teams. And it'd be a few years before they ever got their cup. Hell, I think it'd be, 5, right? 5, 6, something like that.
Well, no, they won the cup the very next year.
Okay.
You're talking the Wings or the Calgary?
The Wings.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, you guys waited till, 97?
Yeah, so it was, but this was the start of it turning. And and in Detroit, you had the Tigers in 84, but in 88, both the Pistons, who had just finally won theirs, and the Wings were starting to turn the corner. And of all these tickets I pulled out, I grabbed this stub, and I'm like, I remember that game. That was a big day. It was a Sunday or a Saturday afternoon game. And it was just like, wow, we can play with the big boys. And I understand what you're saying with the Lightning, but I almost think Lightning fan expected to win last night.
Well, the reason, and maybe I just felt this, and maybe Lightning fan didn't. And, my team is the Rangers. Okay, I like John Cooper a lot. I like Vasilevsky, Kucherov, and some of their players. I enjoy watching them play. I root for them more times than not. I do. But I just sense that if they lose this series, Mark, that basically this 10-year run is over. Going all the way back to 2015, because really Stamkos ain't a part of the team. But a lot of the key guys were really young in 2015, and now they're long in the tooth. And it's kind of like, are we going to have to start over? I kind of sense there's a lot more at stake for the Lightning in this series than the Canadians. So that game, when they were down 2-0 and down 2-1 in the third, I'm like, man, this whole organization is on the line in this series here.
Well, it is interesting in that you have, Hagel right now is their leader. He's their guy. Right. It's not, Kucherov's the best player. Don't get me wrong. But Kucherov finally started shooting the puck last night. Kucherov's not scoring goals. Kucherov is pass first. Kucherov made some terrible passes on the power play that the puck came out of the zone. He's getting passes deflected. I mean, he's probably the best passer in the game. And last night, he was not Kucherov-esque with his play. And Vasilevsky made a string of saves in the second, David, that I thought were unflippin' believable. But you and I have texted back and forth that Vasilevsky has not looked like Vasilevsky in this series. He's had moments when he looks like he's sliding around like a fish out of water. And he's had other moments where he's looked like Vasilevsky. But there's been at least one goal damn near every game that you go, how did that go in?
I just thought that last night was one of those wins where when you're a fan of a team, it just inspires you. It's like, yeah, I don't know if this team's going to do anything. Our season might be over in 72 hours. But man, I thought that was just a great win for the Lightning last night. One of those wins that, I was thinking back to certain wins that my favorite teams have had in which your chest just fills up with pride and you're like, and I don't want to bore people reciting what those wins are to me, but I just thought that last night was one of those wins in which you're a Lightning fan. You got rewarded. Okay, your team showed you that whatever you invest in this team, it's worth it. No matter how this sucker turns out, it's worth it.
Well, I agree with this point of what you're saying. This is the end of whatever this group is, whether they win the cup this year or not. I mean, because there's enough talent on this team to go a long damn way.
Yeah, no doubt.
When you brought up the ages of the teams in the playoffs, and you look at Buffalo, and you look at Montreal,
right,
and you go, they ain't going anywhere.
Right. Exactly. That's the other thing. Right. You're looking at the rest of the East. We're not even getting to the way. You're looking at the rest of the East going, there's a lot of teams on the come here. And it's been a long time since we were one of those teams.
Now, I will say that there's no doubt in my mind that Florida teams have an advantage when it comes to signing free agents. Who would have thought that when the Lightning and Panthers came into the league, that it would be a free agent destination?
Yep. Could you imagine if Phil Esposito 35 years ago, that was part of his sales pitch? Telling you, guys are going to want to come here and play. Miller and Moulton. Pat Kerwin at the top of the hour.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
What would you want the poll question to be? I mean, come on. Like 32 of you vote on YouTube and Twitch, and for whatever reason, X doesn't work right. I don't think our show's at any sort of a loss because we don't do poll questions, unless they're food and we get some really good text. David, you are right. It was 85. It would have been my junior year we went. September 4th, 85. I guess I had a driver's license then, barely. Would your kids know who Michael Jackson is?
Hmm.
I mean, my mother and my wife went to the play because it was part of their season tickets. And I'm pretty sure that's kind of how they based the movie, but I don't know for certain. Bless you.
Man.
You can hear that, can't you, David?
Yeah.
That's off the phone. Just FYI. Bless you again. Well, he said take their kids. I don't know how many, I guess when I think of my kid, I think of my daughter who's 11. She knows a song or two, but does she know who that is? I don't know. I mean, if your kid's in the 20s, yeah, of course they know who he is. then maybe you could take him to the Epstein movie right after. But David muted himself. I can't unmute him.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till Pat Kerwin will join us at the top of the hour. We'll get nitty-gritty for 30 minutes on the NFL draft here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X.
I try when I can, David, to help you. And really, it's only through food. I don't think I help you with much else. But when it's a certain day and we're celebrating a fast food restaurant
Right.
or a new Whopper or whatever it may be, I bring it up. But I do know what your favorite food is. And today, David, is National Prime Rib Day. So today may be the day that you need to splurge. I'm just saying, if there was ever a day for you to go get the king cut, the king end cut, because I even know what your favorite cut is.
Yeah.
Today would be that day.
Yes. What would you like? King cut, end cut, please. What if we don't have the end? As close to it as possible. Yep. That's the order.
Back in the day, they would have places that, and this is, kind of going way back, but even every once in a while at the golf course that I belong to, they'll have the buffet and it's prime rib night. And I don't know if it's still all you can eat anywhere. But when I was a kid, there was a restaurant at a golf course that used to have on Saturday nights all you can eat prime rib. And they also had Alaskan king crab on there. My grandfather would get everybody on Saturday nights. We'd be up at the cottage and we'd basically have a table of 10. And they believed that it ended because of me more than my family. Because I would take down a piece, maybe two of prime rib. But the fact that Alaskan king crab is so expensive now, back then nothing was nearly expensive, obviously. I would eat pounds of Alaskan king crab. I couldn't get enough of that stuff. But I do think of you when I think of prime rib. And I know the damage you've done at a Chinese buffet. If I were to put you in front of an all-you-can-eat prime rib buffet, I believe the damage you could do is something that I think people would buy tickets for it.
I don't know about that. They don't even like me. Those on Twitch and YouTube don't even like watching me eat my breakfast during commercial breaks on the show. So I'm not sure they'll want to watch me eat a prime rib. But let me tell you, the show will go on for a long time. This will not be, and Miller and Moulton have talked at great length during our minor league play-by-play days and talk show days that you learn to eat during commercial breaks. Surprisingly large amounts of food, actually, during commercial breaks. This would not be commercial break eating.
No, it would not.
No. It should be hours.
Yes.
Hours.
There's no doubt. I will say I helped start the minor league hockey team in the town that I'm in. They're doing fantastically at the gate, on the ice, the whole thing. They've really they had a kind of a lull in the middle and they're killing it now. But I do take credit for one thing. I got the media to basically do whatever I wanted. I got more stories, more lead stories, more things done out of television, newspaper, and back then radio mattered even more, of disc jockeys from around town. I credit that all to prime rib. Because at the opening presser, and you weren't living here yet.
Nope.
I had a lunchtime presser. I said, feed him prime rib. My boss looked at me. What do you I said, you got to trust me on this. If you feed the media well, they will do whatever you ask. So one, we had a great spread, but every time the playoffs opened for the first playoff game, I always had prime rib in the media lounge. And it was twofold. One, for the media to get them to show up, and two, a little bit of thank you for the volunteers that were there every night to try to do something nice for them. But I used to get a lot of grief from the F&B people. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I've got a budget for it. Just, charge me. And I don't know what to tell you. We're going to take care of them once a year.
It'd be the only meal that I would make all year because I was a local TV guy at the time doing the 6 o'clock news. Their game started at 7:30. Obviously, our newscast ends at 6:30, and it was 20 minutes, maybe touch more door to door to get there. But first playoff game, oh yeah. Where are you going? What are you doing? I'm going to the Blades for dinner. What? And they think you're eating like hot dogs and popcorn. No. First playoff game. No, trust me. I'm going to miss. In fact, I got the camera. I have to shoot highlights. I missed a goal one year, Mark, because I was eating and the first period already started, and I could hear by the crowd noise that you guys had scored. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm finished.
So, National Prime Rib, I don't know where in Jacksonville you can find it today, and good prime rib at that, but just throwing that out there for you to give yourself a little treat. You had a lot of family in over the weekend. You had to take care of other people and do other things and be on your best behavior. So maybe you can do something for yourself today.
Wow, you make it sound like I'm almost worthy of the prime rib. I don't know.
I think you are. I definitely think you are. In fact, I think you could put it on your wife's credit card and make her pay for it. That's how worthy I think you are.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that I'd win that vote right now. If that was a poll question here in the 904, I'm not sure I'd win it. So that's interesting. I'll give it a try. What the heck? It's a good thought. I like that. Miller and Moulton, Pat Kerwin joining us coming up at the top of the hour. The NBA playoffs, I know you're not paying attention. You announced it, and you've stayed true to it. You don't pay attention to the NBA playoffs before the second round. However, I'm willing to give you a mulligan. How about this? A get-out-of-jail-free card. Because your top-seeded Pistons are down 2-1 to the 8th-seeded Magic, and Game 4 is 8 o'clock tonight on the NBC family of networks. I know this is early for you to pay attention to the NBA playoffs, but is there any way the NBA could entice you to join their party early?
Well, probably not. First of all, probably not, because I'm just double checking what we have tonight. But first off, I won't be able to get a TV because the Penguins are playing. I could get a TV, but Flyers and Penguins, even though it's 3-1 Flyers, that's on tonight. That's probably what I will watch. But what I am most interested in about Pistons Magic is the bet that we made. Our over-under number in the 1-8-2-7 series. There are 4 of those series in the NBA, obviously. Well, Oklahoma City looks like they're going to sweep, and that was expected. I said 4.5 was the over-under of combined wins out of 7 and 8 seeds.
Right. I went over, you went under.
Won a game. Portland has won a game. Orlando has now won 2 games.
Yep.
One more win by any of the 7 and 8s left, it's an over.
Right. But the thought is, since Portland's now going back to San Antonio and Philly is going back to Boston, that San Antonio and Boston will finish business in 5. And heck, we're just thrilled. I think the Suns may have 2 covers in this series. I don't know. The last one was close, game 3. They lost by like 12, but they ain't winning a game. So the bet rides on the Orlando Magic. Now, they got 3 more opportunities to win a game, being up 2-1. But you're right. The first round over-under is riding on the Orlando Magic. I'm just curious, can the Pistons / Magic get the second TV tonight in your household?
Pistons are a 3.5-point favorite, laying big money just to bet the if you bet them just as a winner, it's huge money, like minus 150. I think I would lay the 3.5 for the record.
Oh, so you think Detroit answers the bell tonight?
I do. But do they win 3 in a row to win this bet?
Right.
There is nothing out there that says that they will. Nothing. They've been lousy. They've had one good half.
Right.
That's really it.
Yeah. And it was a third quarter as much as anything. And that was coming out of the locker room after the coach had apparently verbally lit them on fire, according to members of the Pistons team.
You know, Bain has been terrific in this series. Banchero was terrific in game 3. So will Orlando at home put the Pistons in a 3-1 hole? I would bet against it. I would.
Remember, they don't.
I'm really bummed out that Edwards is out, though. That's the one, because if Denver were to come back in this series, good for them. But you want them to see him. You want to see him do it against the best of what the T-Wolves have.
Right.
Oh, by the way, that's on at 10:30 tonight, if any of you are interested.
But T-Wolves up 3-1 in that series. Can they find a way to eliminate the Nuggets without Anthony Edwards? He got hurt, knee injury, game 4. He's going to miss 2 weeks. The earliest they have him coming back is May 9th. You know, that's a week from Saturday. So that's a while. This Nuggets series is going to be over by then.
But there is a better than 50-50 chance now that I'm at home for another day. I've got a weekend pass. I don't have a doctor's appointment until late in the afternoon tomorrow. So I am staying here again tonight. So I'll have my 2 TV setup.
Right.
There's a better than 50-50 chance that the Pistons get a television.
Yes! Yes! What a job the Orlando Magic have done, ladies and gentlemen. What a job. Not just going up 2-1 on the 1 seed, but Mark Miller thinks that he is going to turn on the NBA playoffs before round 2, before May.
I don't have cable. I don't get the Rays, so I can't watch them tonight. Tomorrow, I'm pretty certain that it wouldn't happen because I believe that the Tigers and Braves are on like FS1.
Gotcha.
So I would have gone baseball if given the opportunity, but no MLB network, no local cable, which means no Rays tonight.
And not only that, I don't think, now I know there's taped. I know there's hundreds of hours taped, but I don't think there's any college gymnastics to get in the way of the Pistons tonight either.
No, and on a work night, my wife is in bed early. Like she bails. Unless Pittsburgh's winning, there's a chance. In fact, even if they're winning, there's a more than 50-50 chance after the second intermission that'll be it for her.
And that's 9 o'clock roughly.
Right.
Yeah,
That's when she'll turn in.
Won't even be at halftime of the Pistons and the Magic, baby.
Now we've got gymnastics tonight. The only thing that keeps her up is the daughter still being up. That's really it. That's because she'll be pressing the daughter to go to bed so she can go to bed. So I'm probably going Pens Flyers with sound, Magic Pistons without sound.
Wow. It's a big day for the NBA. They have no idea. No idea. It's a big day. This is years in the making. This has not happened for years, ladies and gentlemen, for years. Now, I have to admit, if it was 2-1 Pistons, it wouldn't make the survey. But now it's intriguing.
Now, there's always the chance the Flyers Pens could go no sound. and I could catch another episode or two of The Offer on Paramount Plus. Don't think that that's not a distinct possibility.
I know.
It's been a great show. I'm thoroughly enjoying that show.
I know, but you have labeled it about 53% chance, okay, that the NBA can make one of your TVs before the second round of the playoffs.
I think that's the proper number. That's your Card Sharks number, David. 53.
That's another 40-year-old reference, isn't it?
All right. Miller and Moulton. Pat Kerwin coming up the top of the hour. We'll get Pat's thoughts about the NFL draft. And as we've talked about, we went back to whatever draft that was for Seattle. They took Russell Wilson, they took Wagner, they took the pass rusher. It was graded an F. How did that turn out for the Seahawks?
Right. They won the Super Bowl a year later. Right.
So you can't really give grades, but we'll do our best to break down the draft with Pat Kerwin next.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Morning, Pat.
Good morning, boys. Sorry about Friday. That was ridiculously hard. I screwed up at 7:30 in the morning. I had a meeting, which I had to be at, and I got up late because we went to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I had to push that back till almost 10 to 8, and there was no chance.
No worries.
No. Remember the first mock draft? I remember David jumping on my bones when I said Reuben Bain to Tampa Bay at 15. I was like, oh, man, they made a mistake. That guy's a good player. I'm happy he's with Todd, because Todd Todd will not care about the arms. He'll just be happy he's got them. When he sat down with that guy, I felt like I was talking to a 40-year-old man. He's so mature. He's rugged.
I thought like the Chargers were going to trade up with the Rams once he was still available and get him at 13, because I still think, but maybe the Steelers would have taken Ty Simpson at 21 and it would have screwed everything up for the Rams. But I don't know. I was surprised there wasn't somebody who needed a pass rush who didn't trade ahead of Tampa Bay.
Yeah, so did I. I totally agree with that. We could name a bunch of teams. And I'll tell you what, there's a bunch of teams still looking for pass rushers. I know the Saints were calling the Giants trying to get Thibodeau.
Yeah.
And they were being cheap about it. So they settled for the Tyree Wilson. He's terrible. So they went, they were shopping like crazy, but Arizona, Carolina, Chicago, Seattle, they all still need a pass rusher.
Well, I'm just guessing, Pat, that the Giants were saying to anybody who was calling about Thibodeau, we need at least a third-round pick, because they didn't have a third-round pick. And I just figured they were going to offload the salary and, you know, you give us a third-round pick, eliminate the hole we have in our draft this year. I can't believe the Saints wouldn't give up a third-round pick for Thibodeau.
They would not. And
wow.
They wouldn't do it. And the quote I got was, they think we're going to give him away and we'll wait it out now. And now, you know, he's tradable before the trade deadline.
Well,
so
we talked about that first off, he's got to stay in the rotation there. But if he performs decently, they'll probably get that at the deadline.
Yeah. And those 4 teams I mentioned are still hunting like crazy, and they're calling the Giants. So maybe they're smart enough to give away something next year that, you know, and the Saints kept trying after the 3rd round. How about that for bold?
Yeah. I'm sure the Giants just said, screw you.
Yeah. And I get why they think they could keep trying, because they thought the Giants would dump the salary, as you said. But at the end of the day, you know, personally, I don't think they know Tyree Wilson as well as I do, because I talked to the head coach last year a lot about that guy. He is a wannabe. Anyway, there was a couple of funny things I want to talk about.
Okay.
Good.
Ba-da-ba-da-bum-bum. How'd your mock draft come out, boys, when it came out to tagging it to the real one?
We had 26 of the 32 players in the first round. We had 5 exactly right. So I don't think we did too badly.
Nope.
Here we go.
5's good.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home in Jacksonville and Tampa St. Pete on this final Monday of April, final hour of the show in Southwest Florida, Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, Venice and surrounding areas, Live Oak Lake City and surrounding areas. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Pat Kerwin, kind enough to join us on the Monday after the draft. Pat joins us courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West. Over a dozen locations in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. You were live in Pittsburgh. Boy, these cities are embracing this draft in a big, big way, aren't they?
The hotels were loaded, and they were loaded all the way out to the airport, if you know Pittsburgh. And getting something downtown was impossible. So they said 800,000 for the 3 days. It was 350 or so for the first day. The weather was great. That helped. The location was tremendous. So many cities, fan bases can get there. When I flew out to Pittsburgh from RSW here in Fort Myers, the plane was packed with Steeler fans. You would have thought we were in Pittsburgh already. So the amount of people that are down here from that area, I know Pittsburgh fans are everywhere, but it was really something. Usually when I get on that flight every year, wherever we're going, it's all kinds of fan bases. It was a mob scene of Steeler fans. I was like laughing hysterically.
And it showed on TV. And Pat, I thought the funniest part about the draft was the moment the Steelers picked the lineman there from Arizona State, that of the 300,000+ people that were at the draft, 200,000 left.
Well, it was, I thought they kind of got caught where they had to scramble to get somebody when they had something in their mind they were going to get. That's what happens in the draft. You got 3 names. All of a sudden, 2 go right for you. Then that guy goes right before you pick. And the next thing you know, you're looking up at the board. And that happened to us with a quarterback one time. And it was a scramble, to say the least.
Well, and this is where the 8 minutes probably played a role, right? I mean, it's laughable now. It was not that long ago that you used to have 15 minutes in between picks in the first round. And now 8 minutes. And it seems like many times we get the pick announced and half of the 8 minutes is already off the clock for the next team who's drafted.
True, but I'd like to compliment you because you put the over-under of trades at 6.5.
Yes.
And you hit your over. And it was a late flurry down the end of that first round. It was like a mad scene going on down there. And as it was going, I'm going, Dave is going to hit this home run right now. So good for you on that one.
Well, I have the Bills and the Niners to thank, Mark. The Bills and the Niners to thank for going over.
No doubt. And Pat, we had talked for a while. When's the draft going to start? It's going to start at pick 4 with Tennessee. What are they going to do? And it was your co-host on your show, Jacob Hester, there, that in one of your mocks took Love at 3. And then there was talk that Tennessee wasn't going to take Love at 4. And I had openly wondered for a while if Arizona had Bailey as their guy and Bailey goes 2 to the Jets, which he did, would that cause the shift for the Cardinals? From what you heard, were they interested in Bailey? Did that change anything? Or was Love always their guy at 3?
Look, I think they knew that no one at 1 or 2 was taking Love, so they knew they were going to get him if they wanted him, and they came to the decision, which, look, they got criticized. Everyone gets criticized for taking a running back high in the first round. It's worked out for a lot of teams, so I have no problem with it. I thought the Tate pick at 4 was a little bit of a curveball. My attitude, as I said it on your show, is if you want to take Tate, you could have moved down. You could have sold that spot and still gotten Tate a few down, because I think we all know, Tate's a good player. He's not a 1 to me, and he has never been a 1. So that kind of set up in motion a lot of other things. But a couple of things I want to say here, like this, because I look at this now just the way I look at pro football. After the draft, you have to go back and study yourself. You have to go back and say, what happened to us? Why did these guys go way ahead of where we had them on the board, and vice versa? So what's clear to me, and it's probably clear to you guys a lot longer, but people that don't have big time NIL money, they're out of this business now. I'm going to just read these teams. No picks in the draft. Purdue, Wisconsin, shocker, UCLA, Virginia, Virginia Tech, North Carolina, Syracuse, Colorado, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Washington State. There were 14 guys picked from smaller schools. So if you're in the world that you've got to be, those schools, Wisconsin, you got to be competitive. You got to ask your personnel, and everyone's got one now, a personnel department, why didn't we have the kid from UConn, Memphis, Southeast Louisiana, Central Florida, Toledo twice, North Dakota, Stephen F. Austin, East Carolina? If you want to stay as a big-time school, you've got to find those guys and get them on your roster. When you don't have a single draft pick, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And I don't know, there's going to be such a separation of teams as we go forward. But I looked at this just like right after the draft, like today, we'd be sitting down going through our board and going, What did they see that we didn't see?
Right. I mean, those Power Four schools, their job is to gobble up those guys while they still have another year of eligibility and at least get 1 year out of them. And they failed in that regard. There's a lot of areas we could go here. We've got limited time. Just gut feeling. Okay. Who do you think had a good draft?
Yeah, a couple teams I liked. Doesn't mean I dislike anybody because, as you pointed out, the Seattle grade, that was pretty funny. Like what Baltimore did. They had 11 picks. They traded down a bunch. They still got TJ Parker, kind of like that draft. Like Cleveland's draft. Good for them. I'd really like it if you tell me Taylor Green's going to become a wide receiver. They got 4 quarterbacks in a room. What does this mean for Dylan Gabriel?
Well, it means very quickly, it means Atlanta, because the guy who pounded the table for him is now the head coach of the Falcons. Okay.
Right.
And since they got 2 other left-handed quarterbacks, why not? I mean, to me, this screams Dylan Gabriel's going to end up in Atlanta. But
I hope so. Me too. Kansas City's draft. I'll tip my hat to Andy Reid. It's hard for Andy to take 4 defensive guys in a row. You know what? He actually cared about the whole bigger picture than his offense. So they needed players like that. So I do like Kansas City's. I like the 2 teams from New York, the Giants and the Jets. I thought they did a nice job. Look, what's the definition of a great draft? Who knows? But I do know one thing. I think if you want me to label teams, I look at a draft and say, can 3 guys from this draft start this year? Can 4 in total contribute as role players or starters? If you can get to that number when you look at a draft, you start liking the draft because that's a hard number to reach. Well, I like Tampa Bay.
Then let's go to Miami because I know you weren't a Proctor guy. David wasn't a Proctor guy. But the rest of that draft I thought was pretty good. And if you're wrong and David's wrong on Proctor and Nick Saban's wrong on Proctor and a lot of people are wrong on Proctor, first off, they're a bad team. They're going to have 4 starters from that draft probably.
Right.
That's just necessity. How many they have in 2 years is really what your question is, Pat. But when you look at the Dolphins and what they did, I thought I like Rodriguez. I like the running or the receiver they got in the 4th round. So I thought there were some good parts to their draft. It just all stems on what they did in the 1st round, right?
Yeah, look, on a team that's going to overhaul, which is what they are, taking 13 players, which I think was their final number, is a good idea. And you also got to purge your books. And so I would be keeping a lot of these guys. What's the difference between keeping them and a 30-year-old? I wouldn't be keeping many, if any, 30-year-olds. So if you got a couple, trade them out, just overhaul and go with the kids. And I think you'll be happy doing it. Proctor will be okay, as long, in my opinion, if you're moving to the right side. Don't leave him on the left side. He's a power run blocking guy, and it's a simple world for him. If you put him on the left, you'll see what you saw in college. Like Chris Johnson, fast riser. Rodriguez, I love. And a couple of the other guys, I think the 2 receivers, they'll be okay. I mean, there's wide open. I'll tell you who I liked that they took in the 4th round was Kyle Lewis. Watch out for that guy. He's going to play early, and he's going to play a lot. And he's kind of a hybrid guy that can play safety almost. He was a safety. Not big on some of the other guys, but that'll be enough if they get old. Oh, I like Llewellyn in the 7th round. We had him at the Senior Bowl. There's a utility lunch pail that's going to be able to back up every line spot. And right about November when they have injuries, he'll be playing regularly. So I do like their draft, and I like volume when you have a bad team.
Okay, we got about 2 minutes till the break. You said you liked Tampa Bay's draft. Go through it. Why?
Well, I think you will start with the agreement of the 3 of us that they stole a guy at 15.
Right.
Right. And I had so many mixed reviews on that. Trotter, 1st and 2nd down linebacker. He'll play. He'll be fine doing that. Ted Hurst was a fast riser. There's a guy, Georgia State. What are you doing at Georgia State and not at Wisconsin, for example? I like Scott a lot from Miami. So there's 4 guys that are going to help out. I like Capehart too from Clemson. So I do like everything down through the top 5 picks. I think all those guys will be legitimate players on the football team, playing a role early, and starting with Ruben, who'll be terrific there. Didn't you guys remember these numbers? Didn't Cansey have short arms?
Well, I just think Vita Vea and Ruben Bain. I like now what they've got up front on that defense, Pat.
Yeah, I do too. And as I said to you guys before we started, I sat down with Ruben after he was picked, and first off, I felt like I was talking to a grown man. A lot of them act like kids. That guy was dead serious about what he plans on doing after being picked at 15. And he's too smart to say he was mad. He wasn't saying that, but he had a couple of comments for me and Jake after we got off the air that I was pretty excited. I wish I was coaching him. That's all I can tell you over the things he was saying. Very quiet, very physical, and he's planning on taking it out on opponents.
I was going to say, Bucks fans, when they saw the video of him walking down the corridor and he doesn't stop, he just grabs the Bucks hat on the fly almost. It's almost like he picked up speed while he did it, and he's walking towards the stage, and he just had a demeanor about him like, I'm going to destroy everything in my path. Miller and Moulton with Pat Kerwin. He will join us for 10 more minutes on the other side to talk about wins and losses of the NFL draft.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
Pat, in our chat room, we've got a couple of diehard Broncos fans. I know they didn't pick till the third round, and I'm not going to ask it on air because it doesn't matter. But I know you loved Coleman. Anybody else you liked in their draft?
Yeah. You know, when you strap down without picks, they had no first, no second, no
Right.
sixth. So it was a pile of stuff there. Who did I like in their draft? Let's see.
You liked Coleman, right? I know you were big on that.
I like Coleman a lot. He's a powered up muscle guy. I think Jolly's interesting kid, and you knew him a little bit. He went to school in New York City. He was at UConn first. Casey, I saw him live a couple times, Senior Bowl stuff. I'll tell you, Joe Royer, the tight end, might be interesting. They took 2 tight ends. Speaking of that, the amount of tight ends that came off the board was ridiculous. 22.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. In the second round, it was like an explosion.
Yeah, and that backs up all the things that were said to me by coaches about gravitating to 12 and 13 personnel. There's going to be a lot more of that stuff going on. And I think they figured it out. Like, it's not just to run the ball. It puts the defense in a real pickle. You go out with 2 tight ends. If you go out in base defense, they're going to spread you out and throw it. If you come out in nickel, they're going to tighten it down and run it. I think they see the conflicts, and that's why 22 tight ends. That's I don't know if that's the record, but it sounds like it might be close to the record in the draft.
By the way, Pat, because of where I've not been in my car at all in the afternoon with everything that's gone on your show. I listened Friday for the very first time. I really like Jacob. I like his voice. It's a soothing voice. It's obviously different than when you had Jim, but I think he's very intelligent for what it's worth. I mean, I know who you are. I've listened to you for years, but I think he compliments you well. I thought you guys did a really nice job. I listened for, I don't know, a good 45 minutes on Friday.
Thanks.
And enjoyed it.
He is a really good guy. He is very smart. He is, you know what he didn't do before he came to this show? He did the college show for years, but he really was never around callers, and they love him, especially the ladies. He's engaging. They feel he doesn't yell at them. We had some of those issues in the past. So it's at that part of it, which is important, that like Sirius is in the middle of getting involved with a big AI project, which is going to enhance callers, and they're excited about throwing it onto our show. So we'll see where that goes. But
yeah, I did laugh when I listened to you I think it was Thursday, Pat. I actually listened a couple of days, but I was driving somewhere in the afternoon with my wife. No, Wednesday. And I turned it on. We were going to dinner, and I caught you had a woman on your show. I laughed my tail off at your comment to her because you were going to send her the book.
I sent it already.
And you said to her, and I'll almost quote it, when women read my book, the one thing they discover is how little their husbands actually know about football. And I laughed out. I thought that was a great line. That made me smile.
Yeah, well, I put a note in her book. I said, read the book and quiz your husband. So she was laughing, but yeah, and she's a grandmother. She's a grandmother watching her kids, and her kids, she picks them up from school. They listen to the show going back, and she goes, I sit in the park in the driveway and listen more. And I said, I'm sending you a book. And I said, if you recall, I said, and don't ask for a book, man. I'm not giving any of you guys a book.
Right, because you all
ladies only.
Yep. No, but I do like so I guess Wednesday and Friday are the first two times I've really listened to Jacob on there. And Friday I caught you right from the hop. And I know why you do callers. I like it when you don't, because I like to hear what you two have to say. And so I got a really good bit of that to start the show. And I thought he was really good. I thought you two complement each other very well.
His college background, he's got a lot of connections with college coaches. It's amazing how many guys a lot of them went through LSU and he was there. So, and they're all over Todd Monken, lots of guys. So it's been good to enhance the coaches we have on our show. And he likes the guys I know. So we had Matt Patricia on. Matt and I went through a million things. So it's been good for both of us.
Here we go.
And he'll be there a lot longer than me.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Our remaining moments with Pat Kerwin of NFL Radio, moving the chains, weekdays 3 to 6. And during the season, he's part of CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, you can't fake fresh. Pat and all our guests joining us on the American Paint Supplies hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. All right. These are the teams that Miller and Moulton are reading that are being, criticized, if not panned, for their drafts. Jacksonville, San Francisco, Denver had so few picks, Minnesota, Carolina. I've seen really good grades, really bad grades. Just curious if there are teams that you left Pittsburgh going, I don't know.
Well, Jacksonville, when you got done with day 2, we had a couple of guys very angry with us in the text message world. And I just look, I like Pregnon. They took him with pick 88, but the first 2 guys, I thought they were like day 3 guys. It doesn't make me right, and I hope they turn out to be great, which I tried to explain to one of the guys who was texting me. I said, our job is to sit here. Now, do I like some of the guys? The round 5, Kozoil, that they tight end from Houston, I love that guy. 6'7", acrobat, can catch a blind ball over the wrong shoulder, all that stuff. So they had Pregnon and tight end. I like those 2 guys a lot. But I thought the draft was entitled to be questioned. Doesn't matter what we think, but you asked me, so that's where I put them. San Francisco, yeah, I think they took a lot of heat from a lot of people. They don't care. I will disagree with, maybe it's because of what I wanted Minnesota to do, so let me stop there. Yeah, I love Caleb Banks. I know he had foot surgery twice, but if you don't take some medical risk on guys, then, you're going to miss out on some players. I always go back to, the Jets, we failed Ronnie Lott on his physical. He didn't know anything else about how I feel. I like Golday. Now, look, they lost their 2 tackles in cap issues right at the end of the season. They had to dump both of them. Banks and Orange are now in the mix. They got 2 wide bodies. I don't know what they're going to take, 700 pounds of football player. I like those guys. I thought the Northwestern tackle is worth developing. I think he's going to be okay. So I like their draft more than some would, and I wouldn't criticize that draft. I thought they did pretty good personally. The 49er thing, yeah, I think you can look at that and say, what are you doing? It just didn't work out, but I always remind myself they did find Purdy at the last pick of the draft, so who are we to criticize them? But I thought I was a little shocked at Stribling, as high as he went. I didn't think that was – I thought there were a lot of guys that love Kalon Black, the guy with the 12 visits. And Romello, we had Romello on the show a couple times. He is what he is. I thought he was more of a 4th or 5th round. I like Halton, the kid from Oklahoma. That guy knocked it out of the park athletically. They're okay, but, do I see anyone jumping up and down here? No, except Kalon Black, and they don't need him to be a starter.
I look at Pat. This is where I need you, because the Bills I thought had certain needs. I'm not sure they got them. When you look at the Bills draft, because obviously, now the Patriots have come on, and I like the tackle that the Patriots took there, and it was a weak spot in the playoffs, at least for New England. And I know their guy was hurt, so we'll see, but depth never hurts at the offensive line. Give me your thoughts on what the Bills did.
Their hands were tied, right? No 1st, no 3rd, no 6th. I think if you think about that,
they had a 1st. They traded 3 times. They traded out of the 1st.
Yeah. So now you want me to evaluate their picks when they didn't have a 1st. I love Parker. I think he's a value pick for them in a 2nd round. Jude Bowery, I know pretty well I'm up at Boston College enough. I think, and he's a utility guy. He can play almost across the front. I might teach him to snap, so he's got every position covered. I like Kilgore from South Carolina. We've talked about him on this show. He's the guy who replaced Eman Worry in the role of hybrid. So he's got those skills, and he's a high-character guy. I like Durant from Penn State. So I don't have a problem with their draft. I don't think I'd take the Ohio State corner that high. I spent a lot of time talking to Matt Patricia about his players. We didn't spend much time on Davison, but we did talk about everybody there. So I think some of them are a little risky, but at the end of the day, I think clearly you see Brandon Beane's signature on this without Sean McDermott. I think Sean used to be pretty vehement about the kind of guys he wants, and it looks to me like, and the trading part, I think, is all Brandon. So we'll see how it works out. Everyone will judge this down the road. They got a lot of guys. I don't think that many players can make the team. Now, if you go to the 4-starter thing, Parker should start. And after that, I think you got some role players. So you're probably not banging the starting lineup with this draft.
Let's see. Any of the quarterbacks taken after the 1st round that you think, not this year necessarily, but you actually think, you know what? I think he can play. I like the spot he's in. Any of the non-first round quarterbacks that you like?
Well, first off, let me start at the back end of it. There's no chance in this God's green earth that there were 9 quarterbacks better than Nussmeier. He was the 10th quarterback drafted. that's a joke. And I'll be paying real close attention to that. There is no way. And some of those guys were at the Senior Bowl with Nussmeier. They weren't even close to Nussmeier. So why they left him out to dry until – and actually I think I was happy for him because Kansas City is a good place for him to go. He'll be better than Justin Fields by the end of the season. I'll make that comment. Look, the Penn State guy, but you tell me – the first thing I said when they took the Penn State kid, I go, well, who's not going to be in the room? Let's go through. Rodgers is coming back. So he's the starter. Then you have guys like Howard and this guy, Allaire, no experience. So how can you let Rudolph go, who's got starts? So you're not keeping 4 quarterbacks. So, David, untangle the room. You're our GM. What are you going to do?
Oh, very quickly because we're pressed for time. But, Miller and Moulton were talking earlier. Drew Aller, it seemed early for us. That's all.
Me too.
You don't spend a 3rd round pick on a project/prospect. It just seemed Mark early to us.
No doubt. Hey, look, we've picked on the Cowboys for a lot of good reasons. Obviously, everybody loved Downs. They went edge. A lot of defense. They got a corner from Florida in the 4th round. They took another edge in the 4th round. When you look at the kid from UCF, your thoughts on him and the Michigan edge, because we already have our opinions on Downs.
Yeah, I think Lawrence had the fast rise late, the Central Florida kid. I don't think I would be taking him in the 1st round. So that was under question, and I think it's worthy of a question, to say the least. I like Downs, and I think it was worth taking him, even though there's some medical history that you have to worry about. He'll start right away. Lawrence will be in the rotation. Whether he's good enough or not, he'll be in the rotation. Barham, probably a backup. Shelton, a backup, but sooner or later could play. Overton I like. He's never going to – no one's going to want his autograph, and no one's buying his jersey, but he'll be in the rotation. He'll be active on Sundays.
Pat, Pat, got about a minute. So what do you do from here? Undrafted free agents, you bring them in next week and the week after, but basically your roster's set, right?
Yeah, so there's a lot of guys got signed. Some teams have signed 20 college free agents. And if you pay close attention to those lists, you'll also see, I'll bet you 32 teams times 5, maybe 200 guys going as tryouts, not even college free agents yet. They're going to the mini camp as tryout guys. And from that, they will sign maybe 1 or 2 per team. But they're gonna have a ton of guys coming through that aren't even. I'm trying to help a kid right now that didn't get drafted and didn't get signed, and I'm just trying to get him go to the mini camp as a tryout guy.
He's Pat Kerwin. NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, weekdays 3 to 6. Joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. Thanks for listening.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hair's coming back, OC. Hard to tell, but the Chia Pet's coming in. God dang it. I don't know how to fix this.
Yeah, Sonny, I think you're going to see Jeremiah Love one time to the Arizona Cardinals. They'll get as few national games as possible.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. The pro hour, the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. So we talked a little draft there for a half an hour. Tried to cover as many bases as we could with Pat Kerwin. This is my last comment about the draft. So Mel Kiper did what you have to do. I mean, you're required. It's part of your job. You got to hand out grades. So when we went to school, a B was, quote, good. So I was interested in how many grades above a B did he hand out? A's, A minuses, B pluses. To me, the number was lower than I thought it was going to be. Because like Mark said earlier in the show, everybody loves everybody's draft. Everybody got it right. I mean, did you watch the draft? Did you listen to the draft? How many times did you hear somebody go, oh, I don't like that pick, or, oh, that's a reach, or I don't understand that at all. So for what it's worth, Mel Kiper handed out 4 A's. These were the 4 best drafts were Cleveland, Dallas, Philadelphia, and Las Vegas. A close 5th, getting an A minus, was the Jets. That was it. He only handed out 5 A's and A minuses. And he handed out only 3 B pluses. Baltimore, and he does have a thing for Baltimore. But then again, the Ravens do draft really well. Indianapolis, have to admit, haven't heard a lot of people talking about Indy's draft, and the Giants. So that's the top 8 from Mel Kiper, who, let's face it, when we think about the draft, yeah, I know he's not the influence that he used to be, but I don't know, seems to be the name that comes up more than most others.
Fascinating that he had the Colts that high, given the fact they didn't have a 1.
Right.
I mean, I'm not even criticizing the grade he gave them. I'm just fascinated that a team got a B plus with not having a first round pick and didn't have multiple second or thirds. They had a couple of 4th round picks, but they had 1 second, 1 third, and 2 fourths. So that I'm with you. That struck me as a little on the odd side.
Yeah.
But David, you would have had a better shot of getting a Vrabel interview on Saturday than these guys criticizing picks.
I know. I know. Now, I will say NFL Network on Saturday that Daniel Jeremiah and Charles Davis went at it. They were talking about the quarterbacks and the top quarterbacks and when were they going to play and how many starts they were going to have this year. And it was as if they were doing their own talk show. They went at Rich Eisen laughed and said, I'm going to run this on my show this week. I mean, they went at it. It was, I thought, tremendous television.
But one of the things you and I are critical of with draft coverage, and it was the case with the first round, and I did not watch, and it's why I didn't really watch much of the draft, David. They don't advance this thing. This thing's about who was taken, not who's left. And when you get to Saturday, that's all you've got. You know, what quarterbacks are left at that point? There's not much there. So, and the picks go pretty rapidly. There are usually a decent amount of trades on day 3. So it's difficult from a television standpoint to keep up.
Oh, yeah. If you watched it all, oftentimes they were letting you know who the last 3 to 5 draft picks were on Saturday. Because first off, there was only 5 minutes between picks, but teams were taking 30 seconds.
So I locked into hockey on Saturday. I went and, was able to get home. So I was attending a softball game, David. Just so you know, youth sports haven't changed while I was gone.
Man, that would have been fantastic if somehow, some way, you've been gone 3 months. If that league did things totally differently, that would have been amazing if you showed up at the game and had to elbow the person next to you and go, what the heck's going on?
No, David, I received the elbow. Now, I am so happy with it's actually a couple who's coaching my daughter. They are very positive. Yes, they want their team to win, but they seem to be more about creating a very positive atmosphere for all of the kids. Coach gives a lot of high fives, a lot of atta girls. Even when they do something wrong, it's more of a that's okay. David, I was told to be quiet because I was on the verge of heckling the other coach. First off, he yells at his kids, and particularly was yelling at his own kid, like to where it was uncomfortable for me. Again, this is now U14 softball.
Oh, okay. I thought it was U12. So
no,
okay.
She's playing, it's 11, 12s, and 13. Gotcha. So she's playing with older kids, but it's a rec league. It's not a travel league. They're not that good. Okay, let's start there. A couple of players made some terrific. I saw some, a line shot get caught in the outfield. I was like, damn, way to go. That's off. And you know me, David, when a player makes a good play, no matter what team it's on, yep. Nice hit, good play, catch. Yep. That's how I operate. I don't give a damn who wins. Never have, never will. It's usually
I'm with you. Yep.
But he, the coach of the other team, apparently has the greatest vision of any coach I've ever seen, because he was continually hassling the umpires about the girls on our team leaving base too early to steal the base. David, you can leave the base in softball when the pitch has been thrown. When it leaves the pitcher's hands, that's when you can begin to move. He obviously is not only able to watch his pitcher, what happens at the plate, all of his fielders, but has a dynamic view of every base runner in real time.
Yeah,
he complained about it for 2 straight innings. What I gathered from the other parents was this isn't the first time that it's happened.
Gotcha.
He also, the move that I liked more than any is one, he's not a small man, so he doesn't look like an athlete out there. He probably was at one point, but there's a lot of them. And when he flipped the hat backward because of his disgust for either the umpire or his team, that was when I had it. I started talking. Now, none of their parents can hear me. None of the kids can hear me. Only the parent and my wife. I'm like, ooh, the hat's backwards. Now he must be getting serious.
Did you go Colin Cowherd backward hat? I mean, how severe were you on the, he's going backward.
I called him Baker. I said, look at Baker Mayfield out there. To which my wife had no idea what exactly I was talking about with that, but that's when she went quiet. And I said, I'm about to start giving it to him. And she said, please don't. When I got the please don't, I went, I better not, because I will attend 2 games. She plays next week on her birthday. I am expected to get another weekend pass, and I will go. And like I said, I couldn't have been more complimentary. I was able to go to a practice of my daughter's before, and the coaches that she has, I'm so happy because they are very positive. I watched how they ran a practice. I was happy that there was a lot of drills, a lot of activity, a lot of moving parts, because a baseball / softball practice can get boring if there's not a lot of moving parts. But yes, when the coach went with the backwards hat, and I think it was more in disgust of his team because he yelled at them a couple of times. It was all I could do, David, to not say anything.
Once again, this is U14, correct?
Correct.
This is what I'd really like to know. and I'm serious about this. If there's anybody out there, 21,000 text line, the Twitch or YouTube chat room, how much are umpires making these days to do these games? Because that was the thing. I mean, I was trying to think, was I a teenager or was I 20? I think I was 19, and I was umpiring in a baseball league, and a manager was really giving it to me. And I called timeout, and I motioned him over, and we met halfway. And I said, "You do know I'm making $10 and 2 hot dogs and a soda, right?" I go, "Come on now." I said, can we just lower this a little bit?" I go, "Come on now, just look around where we are." So I am curious, when the coaches in the U14 soccer, baseball, what have you, I just want to know, what are the refs and the umps making?
You know what, David? I could have asked and I didn't, but on the way in, the umpire was getting ready as I was getting out of my car. And he was getting his stuff on, his shins and whatever. And I saw him and I said, "Hey, Blue, thanks for doing this. We appreciate it. We need more of you guys. I know you guys take grief, but thank you." And he looked up and he said, "Hey, thanks." And it was he and then a younger kid. And it was the younger kid who was in charge of the base runners, who the coach really was going after for not doing his job. And the kid was about, 15, 16 years old. But we do not have enough youth officials. We don't have enough high school referees. We don't have enough kid referees and umpires. We don't have, and we know why we don't have enough, because parents are idiots. That's the reason.
Yep. So I'm just curious, how far have we advanced from $10, 2 hot dogs, and like 7 ounces of soda out of one of those small cups?
My son has told me he's thought about umping. He played baseball and loved baseball, and he thought, just to make extra buck, do something. He thought about umping, and he has my sarcasm. I don't know how long he would last because he's not big enough, quite frankly, to give it to some, he's my size and I outweigh him by 30 pounds. So one smart ass comment out of him could get him hit by a coach.
I could see him going Baker to somebody, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
They turn that hat around on Jake. Okay. I could see him going, "Listen here, Slick. Listen here, Baker. Baker. Yeah. Baker Mayfield, hat on backward. Yeah." Of course, you really want to go old school, you go Griffey. Oh my goodness. Griffey wore his hat backwards in the mid-90s.
Wasn't it Buck Showalter who just went off on him, right?
Lost his mind. And Griffey, who already hated the Yankees because when his dad played for them, he was denied like going somewhere where the other kids could go. So Griffey has stated the only team he wouldn't play for in all of Major League Baseball was the Yankees. That was before he was drafted. Then he's becoming a superstar. He's having fun. He's taking BP with the hat on backwards at Yankee Stadium. He's putting about 20 of them in the seats. Okay. And Buck goes off. You want to talk about sounding like Eastwood on the porch. Showalter sounded like 90 years old. And this was when he was like 40. So I'm hearing we're getting $75, $80
a game, and I'm getting 35, 40 on the text line. So if they're getting that much, good for them to pay him that much.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the case, I'm going to start umping tomorrow.
3 games a week. That's $2.25. It's $900 extra a month. Yeah, that'll feed.
I won't have to beg for sponsors every show if that's the case. So you're telling me Little League umpires make more than Miller and Moulton? Son of a.
This is part of our charm. Miller and Moulton making less than Little League umpires.
By a long shot per hour? Are you kidding me?
Well, per hour, we're in trouble. We are in trouble. Apparently, some leagues are a lot better than others, Mark. Apparently, it's, some of the texts you're getting are very much right. I guess we've got some high-end leagues that we're getting responses from here.
Well, good for them. They still don't get enough. Miller and Moulton, David said it, making less than Little League umpires. We've never needed sponsors more than now.
That is
we
true.
get picked on just as much as Little League umpires, but we can take it. That's for certain. The Pro Hour on the other side, we'll talk a little more about the Lightning's big win as that's 2-2 in that series. The Rays have won a few in a row, and more on the NFL draft. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Couple questions were asked earlier. Yes, my mom's in town till Thursday. And there was another question that was asked of me. What the heck? Huh. I can't go up. Sonny, I do like Matt Miller. I think he's paid his dues. He's worked his way up in the business. I like him a lot. I subscribe to him. I pay for his stuff.
Boom, boom.
Pat. It's still overmodulated. Just bear with me for a second, everybody. In our chat room. Yep. I got to fix this son of a biscuit. All right. Yeah, me too, JB. I don't think they're getting. I mean, I'm getting FSHA 50 to 75. I don't think youth leagues are you. But you were the one that said it, JB. You just said 70 for umpires. You said you're getting 125, then 55.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the final hour of Miller and Moulton on this final Monday of April. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We've already found out, if you're just joining us earlier in the show, a historic day in recent history of Miller and Moulton. Mark Miller declared years ago that I'm not watching the NBA playoffs for the second round. Once they went to best of 7, there's no intrigue, and I mean, it takes an act of Congress to get an upset. And no, I'll watch it in the second round. It's really good second round, conference finals, but no. And there is a 53% chance tonight that the Pistons Orlando Magic game will make the second TV during the night sports TV viewing. 53% chance of that happening. This would break. I don't know if it's taken place this decade. I think we got to go pre-COVID. The last time Mark Miller partook in a first round NBA series. So this is big.
It is my team, by the way.
Yep.
And didn't last year's Knicks Pistons, that was first round, right?
Yes. Knicks.
I did watch some of that.
Oh, okay. All right.
This is the team I've rooted for my whole life.
Right. And you like them a lot.
That is adding to it.
Right. And they hadn't been in the playoffs in a while last year. They were down 3-1, one in New York, and then, boy, had a real chance to win game 6-2 and let it slip away. Let that series slip away. And right now they're letting another series slip away. They're down 2-1 to Orlando. By the way, Trent, our former producer and resident Michigan sports fan homer, quote, confident, unquote, tonight that the Pistons even the series at 2?
I should hope so. I mean, they've been horrible, though. We'll see. We will see. 2.5, 3.5, the number I'm seeing.
Right. So if you're confident, you lay the points. And if you're confident, so just saying. 3 NBA playoff games, 2 NHL playoff games. And NFL schedule comes out sometime between May 12th and May 14th. It's a Tuesday to a Thursday, one of those 3 days.
So the league start May 12th, and then we get the schedule on May 14th. Is that what you're telling me?
I don't know exactly what it is. I'm just trying to find out how many international games Monday Night Football is going to have. I think it's only going to be one, but we'll see. I mean, they just announced, I don't know if you caught that in the draft. I think it was day 2 of the draft. Early on in the draft, they announced that week 3, a Sunday afternoon, I think it's Ravens-Cowboys game.
That's exactly right. And it's going to be a 425 game.
Right.
So, I mean, I will say they're putting an international game in our TV window. And by our, I mean the fan. Like, it's going to be your 425 of Fox or CBS. I'm guessing Fox, but you know what I mean.
Actually, CBS got it. They gave it to CBS.
I
know exactly.
What happened to the good old days when I knew by who was playing? I knew what network it was on. By who the road team was, I knew what network it was on. Now I don't have a damn clue.
Well, let's just, to make it easy, let's just say Baltimore's the road team. It's in Rio. Okay, and the Cowboys are the home team. Anyway, It's on CBS.
We'll all be dancing on the sand. But I like that it's a 425 game.
Love it. I'm sure the teams are like, boy, it's a lot of travel for a Sunday afternoon game, but okay. You guys in your international football games and
better than Thursday after playing the Sunday prior.
Well,
that
is true. The Rio game last year, I think, was the Friday game, but it was week 1. That's another interesting thing about this. They're fitting this in week 3. It's like, huh.
And the buys don't start until week 5, right?
I believe
we all play 4 games before we get to the buy portion of the series.
Right.
So, all right. That'll be a 2-hour special. We already had 3 days of reading names off of cards, and we'll get a 2-hour special to tell us when games are going to be played.
Right. Games that we're already well aware of. We know who everyone is playing, and we know where they're playing them in most every instance. But now we will bring order to it, and the new phone books are here. And that's your 50-year reference.
Yes, it is. But Tampa Bay last night with a monster win. And David, you were waxing poetically about how big it was for the Lightning.
Yep.
David, Lightning fan, at least on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, not with you.
Whoa. Really? Wow.
For instance, great win last night, but doesn't satisfy the way David portrays it. I expect to get more out of the first round. We haven't in 4 years. So right now, I understand. I actually understand both sides. I was thinking differently when you talked about it. I was thinking of on the way up when those big wins happen. And that's where Montreal is right now.
Yep.
The atmosphere in Montreal is holy Toledo. I mean, the Leafs have had, and I've made fun of them, but they've had good teams and they've been excited about the playoffs. They haven't been close to the way. Find me a time in the last decade, even with some Leaf teams that, were supposed to do something, David. find me the excitement that matches what's going on in Montreal right now.
Well, I mean, they're the Yankees of the sport. And so when they have a pulse, the place is packed, and you combine youthful enthusiasm with all that tradition, and it's spectacular. Now, once again, you have to believe in that stuff, that stuff actually matters. And let me tell you, the two announcers who were doing the game for ESPN last night, oh my goodness, I don't know how the Lightning came back, because 2-0 was 5-0. I mean, this is the toughest place a hockey team has ever played. They made it sound like the Canadians going to the Soviet Union in 72. I mean, man, listen, love Montreal. Pre-game's apparently the best in the sport. Okay, they got more tradition than anybody. They are, but I mean, it was 2-0. I mean, it's not 5-0. You guys made it sound like it was 5-0. But I just sensed that there was a lot more at stake than the 2026 season, if you know what I mean. If they get 4 straight first-round losses, how does it not get blown up? And I'm not talking about John Cooper, okay, but I'm just talking about, wow, you've tried to retool on the fly here after going to 3 straight finals and winning 2, and you've had some pretty good regular seasons. You can't get out of the first round. And so I thought it was when they were down 2-0 last night and down 2-1, I'm like, wow, this whole organization has 22 minutes of game action to rally, or else this is going to get blown up.
Well, and that part I agree with, because there was someone in our chat room that said I wouldn't have been worried at all down 3-1. Really? I was, and the Lightning aren't my team, and I'm openly rooting for them in this house. I mean, I'm in. I mean, and I'm rooting for Buffalo too, for what it's worth, just because I'm enjoying if it weren't Montreal and Tampa, and this is just the old hockey guy in me, it's tough for me. You call me what you want to root for a French Canadian team. It is. I don't root for the Canadians ever. I don't root for many Canadian teams, not named the Edmonton Oilers. That goes back to my love for them against the Islanders when I was a kid and first getting exposed to the sport. They had this Gretzky guy. He was pretty good.
Right.
But the youth of Montreal, they have, for large portions of this series, outplayed Tampa. Their scorers are getting in the right spots to make plays. Last night, that Hagel, and you're right, the Getzel goal was the big goal because he hadn't scored a goal in the series. But the power play outside of game 1 there had not looked all that good.
Not at all.
And to have a tic-tac-toe power play goal to tie it with the same way Caulfield scored earlier on the power play on that cheap slashing penalty on Getzel, they basically had to have the same play. And finally, Kucherov and Getzel, a little back and forth, and finally, Kucherov had shot from a bad angle, which I'm not a big fan of, but he proved me right, because when he walked out of the corner, well, the goalie and the defenseman gave him a lot of attention, and that opened up Hagel on that play. So it was a, huge goal at the end of the period by Getzel. It was obviously the power play goal to tie it. And then Kucherov finally starts firing shots, and one hits Hagel and goes in. Sometimes you need a little dumb luck.
Well, the Canadians had puck luck on their side in their first goal last night. The Lightning got some puck luck for their third goal, which turned out to be the winner. I just found it to be a very inspiring win. They had lost in overtime the game before when Vasilevsky was great. And then here, they got a bounce that went the wrong way. They got a goal that ends up in the back of the net on a BS penalty, and they're on the road and they're taking bad penalties again. And I'm like, they're in trouble.
Well, and who didn't think, David, I thought that game was going to overtime. When you get a penalty with 2.5 minutes left in the game, and You knew. If you've ever watched hockey and the way that game was called and the Lightning get a 5-on-3, like you didn't know the Canadians were getting another power play before the end of that game.
And that was a cheap as blank penalty too, but you knew something was coming.
Yep. But the stick was high. I mean, I didn't like the way the game was called, but I thought it was consistent to both teams. They ended up with 13 total power plays, Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
The Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I don't know if I'm going to catch grief for this, but I just need to say it. You guys have listened to this show for a while. You know, I'm pretty pro-woman involved in sports. Playing, watching, even broadcasting. I'm willing to give a woman probably a lot more rope than a lot of male sports fans are in broadcasting sports. The analyst on the Lightning Canadians game last night was horrendous. I think her name is
AJ something.
Malesko. First off, shut up. You were talking more than the play-by-play guy. In hockey, I didn't think that was possible. And it was a listen, Mark has said this years ago, and he said, I'm not being sexist. Okay, this is just the way it is. The Lightning Canadian series and game was staggeringly physical. Well, what part of women's hockey doesn't exist? Literally, by rule, is not allowed in the sport. And so, she had nothing to offer. You can't give me momentum in the Stanley Cup playoffs. You got to be kidding me. She was terrible. I had friends texting me how bad she was. You've never heard me say this before, But I literally, in the third period, said out loud to no one in my living room, does ESPN not have any male hockey analysts? Why are we getting so many female hockey analysts? Anyway, terrible. I couldn't, and I'm serious, because phone calls can get made to trucks. Like Bristol can call the truck and say, can you tell AJ to just talk a little less?
Yeah, they had the local. You could get, I don't know what you were, ABC 28. That's interesting. So they had the local Tampa on ABC Tampa. Okay. With the fan duel going out, because I text my buddy who lives in Sarasota. He goes, I'm watching the local feed.
Well, thank God.
That's funny, David. I'm 99% sure. Yeah, thank God. I'm watching the local feed. I text, thank God.
Oh, my God. She was horrendous. Was trying to ruin a tremendous game. Oh. I just had to get that off my chest. She was terrible. And had nothing to offer. No strategy. I mean, at the end of the game, no strategy between Monaco and AJ there. Should the Canadians pull the goalie for a 6-on-4? Wasn't even brought up. How could it not be brought up? All right, I'm done. Thank you. Thanks for putting up with me.
And I have to be brutally honest. Is there one we're talking about an analyst? If play-by-play is different, I don't really approve of it. I'm sorry. They can do women's sports. Men can do men's sports. I don't want to hear a guy do the WNBA or a college women's softball game. They didn't play it.
Right.
But play-by-play, when you're the announcer, okay, if you're good, you're good. I didn't like certain ESPN ones doing football, but it's play-by-play. The analyst should have played the sport that she's doing.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes after the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts. Maybe a pick or two. It's all coming up. Hey, can I just point this out? And I won't take very long at all. Maybe even 10, 15 seconds. But do you know what showed up over the weekend, Mark? And I mean,
Your phone books?
I mean, it's been missing. It's been MIA. And do you know what showed up in the last 72 hours? Tampa Bay Rays pitching. Wow. For 3 weeks, you and I have been saying, they're scoring enough runs. I mean, they got rid of Lowe and Lau. They're still scoring enough runs, but they ain't pitching. What do you mean they ain't pitching? It's the strength of their team. Well, anyway, they swept the Twins. Okay. They've now won 4 in a row, and they found their pitching. So, all right, let's see. Let's see if this is going to last or this was just, 4 or 5 days. But I like it. I like it. Nothing wrong in baseball with finding your pitching. Usually leads to good things eventually.
All right. And you are right. They've won a few games. It is the Twins, after all.
I know, but I'm just saying, they were winning games 6. We were talking about it, and we're like, man, what if the pitching ever shows up? Just mentioning.
David, they are one of 5 teams currently in the American League with a record better than 500. 5 in the American League.
Right.
You have the Yankees and the Rays. You have the Tigers and the Guardians, and I believe are the Athletics leading the West.
Yes.
They are the other team over 500. While that is going, you have as many teams in the NL Central above 500 as you do in the entire American League.
Well played.
And then you have 3 in the West. The Padres, who are now in first, I believe, by a half a game over the Dodgers.
It flipped. It was on Saturday, but Dodgers won Sunday. Padres lost. So it flipped.
Well,
so
that's what I get. That's what I get for not checking late scores.
You're just 24 hours off. That's all. Also, the last score you saw, if you were watching the screen, the Padres are up 7-1 on the Diamondbacks in the 6th. I'm sure you counted it as a double.
Yeah, I did, as a matter of fact. But the Diamondbacks, Padres, and Dodgers all over 500. And the best record in baseball belongs to the Atlanta Braves.
Yep.
The first team to 20 victories. We talked about it heading into the weekend. The Phillies and the Braves, second series between those two this year? And that if the Braves continued to do what they've done all year, and that's not lose a series, that means that the Phillies would be at the very least 10.5 back. And because the Mets also suck, they are also 10.5 back. We haven't even completed April yet.
Nope.
Wow.
But Mark, here's what you're getting to, which is the most important point. If you're off to a bad start in the American League, so what? Texas at 500's the last wild card. How far in the standings, Mark, are the Orioles, the Red Sox? All right, pick another team that's gotten off to a bad start.
Mariners, Seattle. I mean, that's the one.
Right.
I think they went to the ALCS, almost got to the World Series a year ago. We still think pretty highly of that team. They're 14 and 15. They're a game below 500. There's nothing to worry about in Seattle. Nothing.
Well, right. I mean, they just blew things up in Boston. They're 3 games out of the playoffs. 3. Now, look at the Phillies and the Mets. As Mark just told, you got the whole NL Central, it's above 500. You got the Dodgers, Padres, and Diamondbacks above 500. You got the Braves. That's 9 teams. And now all of a sudden you get off to a 9-19 start? Let's see. How far out of the playoffs are you?
7 back, each of them, by the way, for a wild card. They're the 2 worst teams in the National League with a combined payroll of around $580 million. Wow.
Right. But look at the difference. The Red Sox just blew up their organization. They're 3 games out of the playoffs. The Phillies and Mets are like 7. Yeah. So it's getting late, or it's a lot sooner in New York and Philly than it is in Baltimore and Boston.
And I know earlier in the show you mentioned, now Mets fans want something to happen, or Phillies fans, because of what happened in Boston. David, you might be right. The manager for the Mets might be doing a hell of a job. But I'll say to you what I said earlier. Can't fire the players. You can't fire the players. You might want to. And I've never seen, except for in Buffalo this year, where firing the GM worked. I mean, the Sabres fired their GM 3 games into a winning streak, and basically the Sabres have lost like 9 games since. Right. I don't know how.
Sabres became the 76 Canadians by firing their GM.
So I don't get it, but something's going to happen in Philadelphia and New York soon. It has to.
Well, if this continues, yeah. If this continues, I mean, if they can, Mark, a 3-3 week right now is like, let's go out and party.
But the other thing is that, Lindor's out for a while, but who's the tradable guy that changes the room on either team that another team could afford to take, if you know what I mean? Like the Yankees are playing great baseball. It's not like they're going to, maybe the Phillies and Mets could trade with the Red Sox. You got to think of comparable salary teams.
Well, and there's nobody that either team could trade, I believe, and get something back that makes them better. They have to fix this from within. And we'll see if ownership will give them a little bit of time to do it.
But the NL Central, that juggernaut that we thought it was going to be, every team is over 500. And the Brewers are near the bottom of the division. What have they won? 2 division titles in a row or 3?
Yeah, and they won 97 games last year, but most wins in the National League. Right. Yep.
Now, I know the Cubs, I believe, were the favorite to win that division before the season started, and they're just a game behind the Reds, but the Reds are playing way over their skis right now. The Pirates are playing, I think, over their skis right now. But the Mets and Phillies, hot mess. I mean, just a hot mess.
Mark, I was going to say, okay, you're talking about teams that are playing over their skis. The Mets and Phillies don't own a pair of skis right now.
And they're going downhill in snow boots, and they've turned into rolling, and the snowball is getting bigger and bigger, David.
It's difficult to get off the chairlift without a pair of skis. It really is. Never mind the mountain. I mean, I guess in theory you could run down the mountain. You'll probably get clipped along the way, but just getting off the chairlift's pretty hard, Mark.
David, and I'm not a skier. I've skied a couple of times, and the first time I got off a chairlift, it was an experience in and of itself.
Right.
I feel like that's the Phillies and the Mets right now. They are their first time skiing, and they're just trying to get off the chairlift.
Right. Mets just got swept at home by the Rockies. Say that out loud.
By the way, someone asked, are we going to do any Derby coverage? Of course we will.
Yeah.
The favorite got the 1 hole. That ain't good.
It's not ideal.
That ain't good. Miller and Moulton, the Pro Hour. Thanks for listening.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So, David, at the place I play golf, there's a drive-up area where you can, drop off your guests that's covered. I did not know, David, and I'm going to probably say this wrong, but because when it's raining, we all put our carts there. That's like the spot you can go to not get rained out in the summer. Apparently, that's not allowed anymore by the fire marshal because it has to be cleared for emergency vehicles.
All right.
Who cares? It says parking under the porte cochere, I believe. PORTECOCHERE. I did not know that was called the porte cochere. And I think I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I apologize to all of you French-speaking people. I'm just impressed with that's what they call it. Thank you, Deadstroke. I never had heard that referred to as that. If I could remember my 9th grade French teacher's name, I would give her all credit. But she was a bit of a moron. Should have taken Spanish. Ah, fair enough. So my wife has 3 horses. Renegade in the 1 hole. That's the Steeler fandom in her. Litmus test, because she likes that. Commandment, because she's a Catholic. And So Happy, because she tries to be that way. Those are her horses. That's the 4 we're going with in a 4-horse box for her. The daughter by name picked out the biggest underdog. And the horse with bourbon in its name is the Japanese entry based on jockey and trainer. Dan and Bourbon out of the 7 hole at 20-1.
Is that like Ben and Jerry's?
I mean, I don't really like the idea of mixing yogurt with bourbon, but I hear you. Beer ice cream, huh? What I didn't realize, Javier, is because my buddy was talking, he and I were talking about making ice cream, is that there's an espresso powder, and that's how you make coffee ice cream. I just assumed you put some coffee in with it, but it's espresso powder. Fun. Look at you. See, yeah, look at you. Your etouffee recipe was very good. I know you got my email by now. You forced me to make stock on Saturday, of which now I've got like 4 quarts of seafood stock made. Easy to fly into from where, Mark? New York City?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. For what it's worth, tomorrow's show is shaping up as a Bucks, Dolphins, Jags, insight a little bit more into their draft and their picks. Wednesday, I think we're going to have the voice of the Orlando Magic on whether their series, which will have shifted to Detroit, is either 2-2 or 3-1. On Friday, we'll have Pat Kerwin, and we'll preview the Kentucky Derby with Kurt Becker. You were pretty Derby heavy there during the break.
Analyzing both positions came out over the weekend, David. That's important. That's when you got to figure out the horse you were looking at before and where they're putting them. And the favorite is on the pole. That is not a good sign. The 4-1 favorite Renegade is on the pole. And I don't mean at Mons. I mean the one spot.
Right. Right. Since your wife is into names and she's a Steelers fan, and obviously they're known for in between the third and the fourth quarter?
Yeah, different times, but that's about it.
Okay.
They kind of look for the big moment, and that's
right.
When they do it.
And so they play Renegade. So I'm guessing she's going to have a few shekels on Renegade.
More than likely. There's also Commandment. My wife is very Catholic.
Right.
Both of those horses are doing it. David, she was singing Renegade in the Hope Lodge when they played it before the Steelers draft pick. Singing it. I looked over, and not just lip syncing it, sound was coming out. My wife doesn't sing very often.
I got to admit, maybe it was just the crowd shots of the feed that I was watching. I didn't think this, and the place was loaded, 350,000 Steeler fans. I didn't sense the Steelers were as excited singing Renegade as their fans usually are. I mean, I was at their playoff loss to Houston, and when they played Renegade, and it was a one-score game at the time, and it was a half effort by the fan base. I got to be honest.
At the Houston game or
at the Houston-Pittsburgh playoff game. It was half blank. I was like, wow.
And you've been there for other games when you've heard it pop.
Right? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Did a Cleveland game in which it was like, oh, wow, this is a rock concert. This is amazing.
Yeah, I think they saw the way the offense was playing in that Houston game. And
I think you're right. No, I think you're right. And I'm almost wondering if Steeler fan is like, I'm thrilled the draft came to Pittsburgh. This is awesome. We've changed the coach and what have you. We're going to be 9-8.
I got a feeling, though, one, I didn't sense that as many fans brought towels to the draft as they do to a game, one.
Right.
Two, like Yinzer says, that if you look at the history of the whole Renegade thing, they didn't do it every game. They did it kind of when the music guy thought they needed a jolt. There was a whole, it wasn't an every game thing for a long time.
Is this like the Flyers with God Bless America? They used to.
Yes, actually it is, David. Because one, it had to be a close game. Two, it had to be a moment in the second half. And Yinzer could correct me if I'm wrong, but it wasn't a between third quarter and fourth quarter thing. It was a moment in which, whether it was the head of PR or, the head of the game day operation said to the music guy, time to rock Renegade. And it wasn't an every game thing. And now that it's become an every game thing, it can't work every time. I think they should go back to, out of the 8 home games, maybe you don't use it all 8 times.
Right.
That's just me.
Like Mark Richt with Georgia, he brought out the black uniforms like 2-3 times. And when he did,
he did it against Alabama.
Well, because he was 2-0 bringing out the black uniforms. And he's like, we could really use this against Alabama. Nick was building a dynasty, Mark. I don't know what to tell you. It's not going to be your night. In fact, it's going to be like 35-0 at the half.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
David, pay attention because I have never had this small of amount of things. I don't know if I missed everything, but I've got basically nothing today. 56. Rocky Marciano retires from the ring, undefeated heavyweight world champion. A show that used to be good. The John Oliver Show premiered today in 2014. It jumped the shark. Myles Garrett, first pick in 2017. And Bryce Young, the first pick in 2023. Ulysses S. Grant, our 18th president. Roger Hornsby, Enos Slaughter, Quincy, Jack Klugman, Casey Kasem, Bowler Earl Anthony, and Kiss guitarist Ace Frehley would have all celebrated birthdays today. Kate Pearson from the B-52s is 78. The Iceman, George Gervin, 74. Sheena Easton is 67. Sports writer Jason Whitlock, 59. And Lizzo is 38. Go ahead, David. What did I miss?
Well, I only got two things. This might have been if you had gone there. I don't think we've ever gone back this far. But today in 4977 BC, supposedly the universe was created.
All right. Allegedly.
Right? According to the German mathematician and astronomer Johannes Kepler. Apparently, he was considered the founder of modern science.
I've heard of him.
Okay. So
Kepler,
Kepler,
a first round pick in science. Like if
Right.
you're picking the science draft, you want Kepler.
so according to Kepler, the universe is 7,003 years old.
Okay.
So we got that going for us, which is nice. The only other thing that I had today, did you have GM phasing out the Pontiac today in
I
09?
saw it and it kind of bummed me out. You know, Dad had a Bonneville. We had a couple other good Pontiacs over the years.
I mean, 80 years, the Pontiacs. Well, yeah, I'm with you. Bummed me out too.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Let's see here. For the good, we go to Fort Myers, Florida, where Joshua Kirkus is a Lee County Port Authority officer. But a young boy left behind his beloved stuffed elephant in a rental car at Southwest Florida's airport. They called the officer, searched the airport's rental car area for 2 days, and he found the stuffed elephant. He gave it a tour of the airport, sent pictures to the family, and got it back to them. What a guy. For the bad, and this is a mistake I could see a lot of people making. We go to Sarasota, where Kimberly Brown was smashed, and I mean smashed, and she got behind the wheel of her car. I understand that you think that's a bad move, but here's the thing. She had a Tesla. She thought the autopilot would get her home safely. Unfortunately, when you pass out behind the wheel of autopilot, the car automatically shuts down. And that's what it did. Around 2 a.m. on I-75, Kimberly's Tesla made it off the road because, well, she was passed out behind the wheel. She did receive a DUI. Finally, the ugly. We stick in Collier County and go to Naples, where Kevin Barnhill also got a DUI. It wasn't a good day for Kevin. He got the DUI at 10 in the morning after hitting a car while changing lanes.
10 a.m.?
When deputies arrived, they said the speech was slurred, his eyes were bloodshot, and he smelled of booze. He told deputies he was coming from his house, heading to the courthouse to file for divorce. My guess is now that request will be granted. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, April the 27th, and it's brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department, hiring new officers, offering great pay, signing bonus, overtime, other jobs available. If you're looking to make the move to the Cape and become a cop, you go to capecops.com. That's capecops.com.
Well, 2 hockey games tonight, both on the 4-letter network. Flyers, Penguins in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh staved off elimination by winning game 4 in Philly, but they're down 3-1. Can they force a game 6?
I hope they do, just to put a little fear in the Flyers.
That's a pretty cocky young bunch, too. They are feeling it. I think Carolina is going to bring them down to earth, but they are feeling it. Good for them. Good for the city.
Scumbag hockey might work against the Carolina Hurricanes because they've never been known for their toughness, David.
By the way, did you see the pregame interview with Biz after he called them scumbag hockey? Every Flyer who answered a question from Biz and Net made sure to say scumbag. Well, a bunch of us scumbags, blah, blah, blah. Well, Biz, a bunch of us scumbags. Golly. They were laughing, though. They were laughing as they were saying it. Okay. At the end, he said, good luck with your scumbag hockey. They're like, you bet.
I love it.
Yep. I do too.
And the fans have embraced it with some signs.
Yep.
I mean, hey.
If they go on
after all.
if they go on a run, like if they win this series and they beat Carolina, this will be a thing. This could last. This is like Gritty, who was a thing for like 3 years.
New jersey that should have a new sweater with scumbag instead of Gritty on it. That's what I go with.
I'm with you. So anyway, Flyers, Penguins at 7. My only thought is, if the Penguins lose, is this Malkin's last game as a Penguin?
Probably.
Yeah, just throwing that out there.
I mean, it could be Letang's too. He's 39 years old, for crying out loud.
Yeah, but isn't he under contract for like 4 more years? I mean,
golly. Who do you think he is? Chris Chelios?
He keeps asking for an extension. They keep giving it to him. 9:30, which will be closer to 10 o'clock. Vegas at Utah, and Utah's up 2-1. Basketball, NBC, and the NBC family of networks. The 8 o'clock game is scheduled to be on NBC and Peacock. Pistons at Magic. The 9:30 game is scheduled to be on NBCSN and Peacock. That's Oklahoma City trying to sweep Phoenix. And then we're back to the late game, which, depending on where you are, it's either NBC, it's Peacock. Anyway, it's the T-Wolves without Anthony Edwards in Denver trying to eliminate the Nuggets. 8 baseball games tonight. Rays are in Cleveland. Marlins are at the Dodgers.
Dodgers are minus 300.
Tell you what, though, they've had a couple of big series. They had the Giants and the Cubs back-to-back. You wonder, will they get I know it all comes down to pitching matchups, but, Yankees are in Texas. Cubs are in San Diego to face the Padres.
That's a good series right there.
That's a terrific series.
That's a good series.
Yeah. So there you go.
Rays with the early tilt, 6:10, first baseball game to start tonight in Cleveland.
Look at that. You can get in an hour of baseball before they drop the puck in Pittsburgh.
Exactly. Because you know what baseball games do? They start exactly when they say they're supposed to.
Right. Unlike hockey. Oh, at least these playoffs. My goodness.
Intermissions have gotten long, and start times aren't close to what they say they are.
No.
But here's the problem for you and I, David. The ratings have been spectacular, so nothing will change.
No, in fact, they may do more of it. Right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. But listen, this Major League Baseball thing, this is like your Big East basketball thing. What Big East became your favorite conference because of the 6:30 p.m. FS1 game. I mean, if we're going to keep scheduling 6:10 to 6:40 start times in baseball, you're going to be talking a lot of baseball on this show.
I'm moving into that age bracket, David. I am there now. I am now a young baseball fan, according to the sports demographics. But had a buddy at the Red game yesterday. He's like, all those runs scored 2 hours and 40 minutes, man. And there's all kinds of runs scored in that game. Miller and Moulton. We'll talk some Bucks and some Dolphins and some Jags tomorrow. Have a great day.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
All right, Rick. Thanks, man.
Yeah, you bet, Mark. Talk to you tomorrow, buddy.